We live?
Yeah.
Nope.
We're live.
It says live.
Again. Yep.
You turn it on.
Yep. We're live.
Yeah, we hear you.
All right. We now need to curse Danielle for ending the live stream. That's right. It happens. I can't remember what we're doing now. What are we talking about? Oh, we lost the questions as well.
Yeah, we lost it all. Everybody got reset for questions.
Oh
my
let's
God.
see.
What
if
we were talking about
I'm not sure.
Stuff.
Randall was talking about everybody should just go answer questions in Discord and figure out what they know and don't know.
Yep, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, if you had a question, repost it. That's all I can say right now.
I'm watching for them real quickly.
There's a few coming in. People must have.
I got them.
Hopefully,
actually, you could probably grab them right off of the YouTube chat, right? Because that's still.
Well, I'm trying to do that, but it's just easier for people to repost them. To be honest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't remember which ones.
Christian's got them. Christian says I have them all. He could post.
Oh
them.
yeah, post them. Post them here.
Of course,
post them in the chat, Christian.
Got them all.
Yeah, post them here.
Because he doesn't
thanks,
wait
Christian.
until he doesn't wait until afterward in order to do it. He's doing that stuff as we go.
Marco says 16.3 was
installing it now.
I'm
installing it now.
Let's
see here. It's 23 hours. No, wait, 316.3. Oh, wow. Puro can't pick it up yet. Oh, no.
Thanks, Christian.
I just tried to upgrade the other day and ran into a problem that hasn't been around in a while and apparently is coming around again. But it complains saying that it doesn't want to upgrade because it's afraid it's going to ruin some changes in your code or something.
Yeah, that's happened before.
And actually, the interesting thing is, it's not just a matter of doing force, but somebody said to go into the SDK directory and run upgrade from there. But I did that, and I still had to use force.
Get reset dash hard head. Get reset. Hard.
I'm gonna
get reset. Get reset dash F head or something like that. Is basically reset it back to the download. Some of your files got modified somehow.
Yeah.
Or use Puro. Just use Puro. That's the easiest way to manage all these things.
You could always just roll back to 1.0.
Here, one minute ago, Dart 323 is released according to Puro. All right. Puro.
Alrighty. I haven't even gotten to use 316 yet. I updated and didn't do anything. Reminds me of the old days.
Yeah, Dart 323 and Flutter 316.3.
Yeah.
Just released 1 minute ago.
Yep. Okay, so it is Flutter 316.
Yeah, sorry.
For those of you who don't know, while we're all getting sorted again, way back in alpha, for some reason, I don't know what possessed me, but I downloaded the zip file instead of running an upgrade. So I downloaded it on a Friday. And there were things going on here at the house, and I didn't have a chance to get to it until Sunday. So Sunday comes around. It's a nice, lazy Sunday morning. I open up the zip file, and I run Flutter Doctor, and it says 53 commits behind master. So I go on to the Gitter, which was the single-threaded monstrosity chat that we had at the time. And I said, I just updated and I'm already 53 commits behind master. Don't you people have anything better to do on a Sunday afternoon? And 3 seconds later, Remy said no.
Yeah.
Right. Shall we get back to some questions now they've been reposted? Because I don't want us to get too far behind and we got interrupted by the show. Thanks for everyone for joining us back to the new stream. Apologies. Accidents happen. I think Danielle pressed the wrong button when she left, which was like end stream, I think.
Yep.
So,
and that's what I meant by an accident before. But okay.
Yes.
All right. To create a type of dynamic component, and this is rendered on. Is there another part to this?
Just I don't know. To create a dynamic component that is.
I'm just not understanding it.
Well, hang on. We'll get it.
Component,
and this is rendered on screen. Hang on. Either as text or image. Can we update its values? What pattern do you recommend? Well, this is just yes, you can.
This is the way Flutter works.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe. Okay. Perhaps you have not worked with the reactive paradigm before. What you do is you create something, you throw it up there on screen, and in the case of Flutter, most of the time it is immutable, so it can't be changed. It can only be replaced. Then with the next frame, Flutter checks to see if anything changed. Okay, so you might have done some business logic or whatnot, or maybe you got something in a stream. So something changed. What will happen then is the thing that is being replaced will be marked as dirty or marked needs rebuild. It will be destroyed and then replaced with a new version. And but that is the entire reactive paradigm. Basically, if you have a screen with a bunch of stuff on it, and then you press a button and it changes, it's just going to sit there static until you press the button. So it reacts to whatever you do. And that's really not so much a pattern as...
I think the confusion can be here that by doing set state or having it called build again, that you're like destroying everything and recreating it. It updates the existing underlying components. The widgets change, but the widgets are just configuration. They're just like the parameters. The underlying element and render object and things that actually are expensive for the system to maintain, they stick around. So it already is really optimal just by doing set state, right?
Yeah. You just need to use state and change the state of the object.
Yeah. And when I say if something changes, mark needs rebuild, it's only for the widget that needs rebuild. Although it will also rebuild all the children unless you can do something else to make them constant or whatnot,
right.
And reuse them. And when you're using things like provider, there is a parameter called child. That's exactly what it's for. So that when the provider updates, it will only update the part that you're using, but that widget, but any children of that widget just get reused instead of being recreated.
I suggest Jean Martin. I suggest you go check out state management, the official state management page on the Flutter page. I'll put the link in the chat actually, because that does go through all of this, and I think it links to more resources, and I think that's a good way of actually sort of learning a bit more about state management in general. To also check out the roadmaps we posted earlier, links in the chat. That will take you on some onward journeys as well around state management.
One other quick thing, being that it's almost the top of the hour, I believe John has to go do what really all senior coders do. They don't write code. They just
go to another meeting. Yeah. So, all right.
Well, you know what? It's okay. It can't be a very long meeting. It's a small company.
Yeah, very small company. So happy birthday, Scott. Rando, good luck next week. We'll see you back online and back here soon.
Cool.
Take care.
Yep.
See you soon.
And then there were 3.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next question, I guess.
Oh my God, we have 17 questions. Okay,
that's
folks,
why we're
going to have to kill it.
Yes, let's move fast. Yeah, let me.
This is going to be more than an hour already.
Give him 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes, and then I'll let people know.
How do you guys implement load states? For example, you have 5 rows on the screen, and if you click on one, it downloads an item. How should I implement one main loading state and for each item? Well, I mean, this is the thing. Normally you'd have so in this case, you might have something like called a download manager or a download repository or something that has global state. This way the UI can be rebuilt. You might pull to refresh. You might delete one and change others, but the state of all those items, that list of items, is maintained outside of the UI. This way you can leave that string, come back, and it's still there, because these are long running. These aren't just like UI states of buttons. These are long affecting states, right?
See, and I'm seeing part of this the other way around, because if you click on one item in a list and it's only re-downloading for that individual item, then wouldn't that be more like a set state within that list item?
If it wasn't a download, yes. Because download is something that takes a period of time. So if you leave that screen and come back, you expect to still see it downloading, not just you're pressing a button and it's changed its ephemeral state, right? I don't know what he's building, right? So we're just saying, say it's like he said, he's got like 5 rows and you can we tap it, download tonight. I don't know the details about this, right? But The point here being that you hit that button, it calls up to Download Manager, updates that item state. Maybe you just have a enum of state, like it's downloading, it's downloaded, it's loading, whatever it might be. And then you can just have a list of those states associated with the metadata of each item, right? Like what the model is of each item that you're displaying. This way you're managing the state of each thing with the state of the object. What a lot of people end up doing is that they create a, they press a button, it creates a future, and then that sets like a loading boolean inside your ephemeral state. And then once it's finished, like doing its asynchronous thing, it sets that to false, which is fine. I mean, for most cases, if that thing that you're doing that is throwaway, i.e., it runs your await for a few seconds, and then you don't care if you don't get the response back on the UI, then it doesn't make a difference, right? So you could also do it that way in terms of do a fire and forget, and then as long as that state of your download is maintained in like a high level app state, then you're probably good as well. Does that help? I don't know if I just rambled a bit, but hopefully that helps. Maybe we can have a look at this at some point. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's a good for an example. All right, let's see what we can get to.
We've got lots of good state management questions.
Let's go to the next one. Any good references
on setting up CI/CD for a Flutter app? Also, tell us your favorite CI/CD tool. Very easy, actually. We can answer both of these in 2 words. Code magic.
Or that's 1 word.
Okay, for them it's 1. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Put it together as 1 word. Your problem is solved.
Brand name, Code Magic.
Yeah.
Yep. No, in all seriousness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Code Magic is a great example, but there's plenty of other CI/CDs.
That got dropped.
Just pick one. Yeah, it's fine.
GitHub Actions is a
It's
popular one. A few others like that. Yeah. GitHub Actions. What's the other? There's a few more out there.
Fastlane,
yeah.
Fastlane, yeah. Well, Fastlane, yeah. Fastlane, Bitrise, Jenkins, name a CI. They've all got faster support now.
I read talks about Jenkins and never mentions Hudson anymore. Bye-bye, Oracle.
Just Jenkins gives me nightmares about large corporations with great big DevOps teams, and
it's interesting. Before, I had to say I've used Jenkins for many years because there wasn't online solutions, right? Like it wasn't this kind of Web 2.0 hosted CI solutions were not a thing. And then now that they're a thing, they tend to take over from Jenkins, right? Like there's very even with I'll give you an example. Even with GitHub, use GitHub Actions. You can have an Actions runner, same as GitLab, on your local server, on your local machines in your office. So you can say that, okay, it starts to build, but all the build process and all the data stays private to you. And you can do that with a lot of CI/CD providers as well now, where they run the commands, they do the automation, they link everything up, they make it easy, but the actual commands and your data is being processed on your own devices. And it's another option. Like the only use I can see is if you need to keep everything private, out the hands of any other company, then maybe there's when you run Jenkins, right? But for the most part, it's probably not worth the management overhead of managing a whole instance of Jenkins. To be honest, it's going to be a pain. It might have been easier now. I remember it being a pain. What's next?
Testing some different architectures on my project to see which fits best. Could you recommend some open source projects regarding architecture? I don't know about. What's happening in my head right now is feature versus type. But also one other thing, if you happen to use Block, it has its own architecture. Flutter Block.
This is
others. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say this is the problem that we have in Flutter, right? Like people treat state management as architecture, and architecture state management. The two they have an overlap because of the way that reactive UI works, like that kind of the idea that you want your UI to rebuild along with your state changes, and your state changes are all based on the state of your application, which inherently is about your architecture of how you build the thing. The lines kind of get blurred with a lot of different state management packages. So things like Riverpod is a good example of that. You use the Riverpod system essentially to build the layer of how your states work together, and how the logic of your app works together to manage your UI, essentially your UI state.
And speaking of that, I just posted in the chat Andrea's wonderful article on a particular architecture that also lends itself nicely to Riverpod, but that isn't an essential component of the architecture. But it's a nice way to think of views, controllers, services, repos, and then external API.
Yeah.
It's kind of the 5
Yeah,
layer model.
that's kind of a lot like doing it, or that's part of what I see when we do things by feature. One thing, look up articles on writing a Flutter app, organizing it by feature versus by type. Most people have gotten away from doing it by type right now because the widgets folder can turn into a mess.
I mean, I still have like by feature, and then inside like a feature, I might have widgets as a type, because all the widgets
that to me
go in a feature, right?
No, I meant doing one widgets folder for the whole app is a mess. But then, you do have a widgets folder that's out, that is a child of lib, and then that one will have widgets that are common to the whole app. And then if you have homepage, then homepage will have a widgets folder inside of the homepage folder, but those are widgets that are only for the homepage.
I wanted layering. It's not talking about file organization. This is just about the logical layering of how the app works. Okay. And you can do files either direction in the orthogonality or a combination of two. Yes.
So the repository pattern, this is kind of what this is. It's not exactly like this. There's no hard and fast way of doing it, but there's this article. I've posted it in the chat. Andre also did a great article about what we just said. What was it? Type versus feature.
Yeah. And another quick point, I'll look it up. But in addition, some people call it the facade pattern.
Yeah, there's so this is this is what it's talking about here. Like you can have your type or by feature. So you have your types and your features inside, or you have your the other way around, whatever it is. Anyway, you can have a look at it. I'm not gonna. We talked about this a lot. I think I wouldn't say that there's any particular open source. The problem is there's not. I just can't think of any big open source projects in Flutter. Pardon me. Can't think of any big open source projects in Flutter that I would point people to. Apart from, I guess you want to talk about architecture and the WoW shopping app that we did, which was literally designed around architecture. So here you go. Here, put this. I don't know why I didn't think of that. There you go. That's open source. Have that. All right. Should we move on?
You could also look at Source for stuff like Wondrous, which is a showcase project, to see how they've done it, because there's a lot of different components to Wondrous to make that all understandable. So might be interesting to check that out. I just
posted a link in the chat to a really great video on the facade/repository pattern. This guy's hilarious.
Let's see here. Where's the GitHub? There's the GitHub.
Did we lose Simon's sound?
I was on mute somehow. Sorry. I've probably been talking for a while there, and no one even heard me.
No, not very long.
Okay.
Is there any way to connect Flutter app?
So there's the latest. There's the Wondrous. Yeah, there's the Wondrous app in the chat.
Okay. Too. I just want to explain. Christian has reposted the questions that were asked earlier. So if we didn't get to your question, hopefully it's posted here. Christian's again one of the team. I forget to credit Christian enough. I want to say that we're so happy with what he's doing in the background.
You still have to get in that dash.
Yeah, and we definitely need to work on that. So yeah, he's been reposting the questions for us. So thanks, Christian. All right, so go on.
All righty. Is there a way to connect Flutter app with the latest OpenAI Assistant API. Found Dart
Yes.
OpenAI package, but the author seems to not update it with the beta features.
It's just an API. I mean, there's not much to it, really. You call an endpoint with a token so that it knows who you are.
I think the problem, again, like, you know, if you're new, you don't understand how an API works or REST or anything like that. So the way I'd suggest this, if you're saying there's already a package, go to GitHub, follow the GitHub link, fork the package, add the features you want, and then use the GitHub. There's a way of referencing a Git repo in your pub spec. So it's all the details on the Dart website. Use that, and now that's it. You've done it. You've now got all the new features that you want, and without having to rewrite a whole package yourself. There you go. Is that helpful? Hopefully. Let me find that.
Only after you do it 1 or 2 times. It's one of those things that hearing it is just not going to help. You need to actually get in there and do it.
Yeah, just get on and do it though. Like, try it out. There's the link that's in the chat for anyone that wants to know a bit more about how to reference Git. Hey, George.
Hey, George.
The main organizer of Flutter London.
George has been an organizer in the Flutter community since dirt.
Yeah, in fact, it's quite funny. Vadim posted another community member posted an image on Twitter of like him in 2018 for part of the birthday celebrations of Flutter, and I saw the back of your head and the back of, I could only recognize. He said, "Whose heads are these?" And it's like he was posted from the back of the audience, and he's like, "I recognize the back of your head, Scott, and the back of."
Whoa, 2018. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
No.
It's
2019. Are you sure you're not thinking of IO 19?
No, it was. I think it's 2018 or 20. Anyway, it was Droidcon when you came to Droidcon.
Oh, okay, Droidcon. No, I thought you said Flutter Live.
Oh, maybe I might get mixed up. But anyway,
yeah, no, that was Droidcon. Yeah, the one that really kind of like bothered me a little bit was when we were at IO 19, and there was this shot on YouTube that showed about 300 people, and Rauf turns around and does a screen grab and puts it up on Twitter with an arrow to my bald head saying that he was able to recognize me from behind in a crowd of 300 people, or in a picture of 300 people at IO. I was just like,
it's only slightly true. So let's see what's the next question here.
Is Flutter Web slow, especially compared to JS web apps? My first question is, are you using Flutter Web to make a web app the way it's intended, or are you trying to make a whole page?
Oh, this is Mytho from the Discord. He knows what he's talking about.
Okay.
So is Mytho from the Discord, right? I think that's his name.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't look at the name. Yeah. Anyway, okay. No, this question's way higher level.
I mean, it's a good point. So the fact of the matter is that the JS libraries that are out there now for building web apps, the way they work, they basically manage the DOM tree that already exists inside the browser, and they let the browser do all the rendering, right? That's fine and that works, but Flutter works at a level above that. The whole UI system does not work like a DOM tree. It doesn't try to work as a DOM. So if you're building with Flutter widgets, you have to build it with the Flutter widgets ecosystem. And in doing so, it renders everything to a canvas. Now, the canvas is hardware accelerated. You still get that performance, but it is a layer above. So when it comes to probably to really high level things, yes, it's not as great. However, now that Canvas Kit and and a lot of other sort of things are now available to the browser system, that's the browser sandbox, there's not so much become such a big difference as it once was. I mean, it's now 5 years, right? And Flutter Web it's got to be 2 years old now, is it? At least it feels about that. So things have matured a lot over that time.
What was that name again? Thunderbird, was it?
No, Hummingbird was the
Hummingbird. That's it.
Yeah. That was at 1.0 launch. No, was that 1.0? No,
it was the next
year later. It was the next year. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, when Flutter Web first came out, they called it Hummingbird, and that didn't last very long. I thought it was a really cool logo. It was really nice, and the whole thing, Hummingbird, was really cool. But the problem was that you had Flutter and Hummingbird, and people were thinking that they were two completely separate things instead of two options within a single SDK.
Mhm.
So Hummingbird basically got stuffed and put on a shelf by a taxidermist, and every Flutter web came to be, which is just Hummingbird with a different name.
I will mention that if you want to get the exact same not just performance, but whole ecosystem that standard JS web apps use, you can still use Dart, and that will put you at Jasper. I'll link the package, and we won't talk about it more because we talk about it quite often. But I think Jasper's the go-to solution that I would recommend to people, which is gets you the Flutter way of doing things, but with the DOM tree basically. So it gives you the best of both worlds. So check out Jasper.
And Jasper now has modes where it's not only, it can be all client side, so you have static files that all the action happens in the browser, or you can have server side, so pre-rendered flat HTML files, no JavaScript required at all. Or you can do a hybrid where you have proxy objects on the server side that match objects on client side and stay in sync. Amazing combination of things. So Jasper is really coming along. It's got some really cool stuff going on.
Definitely.
Okay.
Right.
How did that get back up there? I thought I took that back down. Craig already answered that. The series is going strong. It has never slowed down. Yeah. Oh, okay. Christian, you copied it from the old one. Yeah, I pulled it out of our list.
Okay.
A while back.
Next.
But yeah.
And that one too. That one's out of context.
Is there a number?
That was another one I pulled.
No, wait, I want to. What is this?
This was when you were showing that code with the ID, showing that there were different
description. What the number after the pound sign? When it has like integer pound 1, 2, 3, 4.
You were showing that the methods were not the same instance.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. So sorry. No, I do want to clarify that point. Actually, do we still have that question? Yeah.
I just killed it. But it was asking what the pound sign meant.
Yeah, and there, I do. Here we go. Found it. So if you looked at the example that we gave earlier, there's actually a function in Flutter called describe identity, which is where you'll see that it's the class name, pound sign, and then some hex values. That is a standard pattern. It comes over from Java and some other language where you want to see the identity of the object. That is its reference, normally called its hash code. So the idea here is that you can see the unique ID of that object within Dart's ecosystem, within the Dart runtime environment, should I say. So yes, it's not an address. It's not directly an address, but it is an identity. It is an ID, essentially. Okay, hopefully that helps. Any object has an ID and is accessible. All right.
Yep.
What's next?
Is there a way for handling memory in Dart with pointers, etc., similar to Rust?
Yes. Yes. Use pointers and memory using FFI.
Yeah, I was gonna say you need to go a little lower level.
It's interesting you mentioned this. There isn't directly a way of considering ownership over an object. That's something that you would do at a higher level, right? So I don't know what you mean by Rust. I don't know enough about Rust to know the ownership and borrowing concept. But yeah, like when an object is its last instance, it's no longer owned by anything, and therefore its job is collected and freed. There is a finalizer that you can actually you can register a finalizer as part of the language against an object that runs when it's no longer being used. But you don't necessarily get a list of other objects that have references to your object. That's not a thing that exists. However, that's not to say you couldn't make one, and you couldn't make a wrapper with a generic that does that. And then if you need to have that functionality within your application, you can do that. But if you want to handle memory and like really handle it properly, there is a mechanism in place in the FFI package. So there's the Dart FFI package and there's package FFI, both of which have concepts and stuff evolve around pointers and managing of memory.
let's smoothly transition right into another question. We can kill two birds with one stone here. Okay, can you tell me more about FFI and which use cases working directly with it would make more sense?
Okay. So I really need, again, this is not clear. You say FFI plugin. Do you mean building a plugin using FFI, or do you mean the FFI package? I'm assuming you mean FFI package. So the use cases of working with FFI is when you have code that's external, that's not written in Dart, that you want to have access to. There you go. So that's the main use case from a Dart perspective, right? So you've got code written in Rust, you've got it written in Go, you've got it written in Python, you got it written in Perl, whatever other system that you have it written in is compiled to code, and then that code can then be imported and accessed via exports from those external libraries and things that you've compiled. That's how it makes sense. That's the major use case for working with it. The reason for doing that might be you don't have to rewrite everything in Dart. That's really helpful, right? If you've got highly tested, highly optimized code already existing, we'll just use it, right? Like, for example, libjpeg, the image package in Flutter, the image package in the Dart in Dart pub.dev is a re-implementation of the JPEG standard in Dart. It has that inside it, which is great. But however, it's still not going to be as optimal and as optimized as what the libjpeg library that's been around for decades, has major bug fixes and everything else and potential security problem all resolved within it. So make use of that. And that's how one of the reasons why the Flutter framework itself uses the systems libraries for doing those operations. You don't ship it inside your app. You use it varied, but the point here is that you can use pre-tested code and pre-generated code. I think I gave this example to someone else the other day, which is one I got from Tom Scott, one of his old computer file videos, I think, which was one around date and time. Like the fact that a country decides, and I'm not going to go into time zones, Randall, but the fact that
I was going to say
no, I'm not going to do that.
No,
quiet. Now, but the point here, a good example of this is, let's say a country decides to change the way they do their calendar. They went from Julian calendar to Gregorian calendar. They skipped 3 months. They went from like year end of 1 year, which was ended in March. I think the old Julian calendar ends in March, to ending in January. Suddenly, the number of days changed. Just like this. One day it was the 31st of March. The next day is the 1st of January. And you go, what the hell just happened? Right? That is a completely valid thing to do, because it's us that decide on what day of the month it is. Like, we could change the number of days in a month if we wanted to, right? It would mess everything up for everyone right now. But the point here is it's decided. Now, if you need to calculate, say, the number of hours that would spent from the 16th century, this date, to the modern day, you're going to really mess up if you just think everything's the same calendar system, right? Because it changed for different countries at different times in different places. So you don't write this stuff yourself. The number of exceptions would be ridiculous. What you go do is you go grab a library that already has all that stuff in it, and you go, thank you very much for writing for me. Thank you very much for testing that for me. I'm just going to go use your library and do all that. You do that for me, right? There's reasons to make it yourself, and there's reasons to use libraries, and just knowing which to choose can be difficult, but you learn it as you go. Definitely go looking for, like, the first thing you should do. Here's the thing: the first thing you should go do is go work out what your problem is. Right. So let's say you got a problem you're trying to solve. Go understand how someone else. Maybe you go find a library on pub.dev and you go, okay, this person solved this library. Let's say, I don't know, sharing a file on Android or something, right? You go find that package. You go look at the package. You work out how they did it. And when you go, oh, there's one line of native code. Maybe I don't want to include the whole package for this one line of native code. Maybe I can just put that in my own app in a channel and use it directly, right? And now I don't have to wait on a maintainer to update their dependencies or whatever else they've put in their thing. I can take on that responsibility. You can make that choice, but also equally knowing, you go look at it and go, oh, wow, there's a lot more to this than I thought there was. Let's say in-app payments, right? You go, oh, actually, I'm going to use the in-app payments library. Oh, it's made by the Dart team or the Flutter team. Okay, it's first party. I can trust that. Okay, I'm going to use that library in my app, right? But just filling your app up with millions of dependencies is not a good idea. I'm going off on a rant here, but filling your app up in millions of dependencies is not a good idea. Equally, though, use dependencies when you need to, right? So there's a balance you have to make when choosing a library of dependency, right? Okay. Sorry, rant over.
Moving on.
We need to.
This one, I don't know if we can. I'm not sure we can answer. Maybe Simon can, but how can the null safety be selectively disabled for a specific file or part of the code, such as slider theme.dart line 1067? Well, first of all, that line goes to documentation for the paint method of the slider theme. I've already looked it up.
No.
Is that a linter thing?
No. Is it that, or are you saying that you've seen that because of the version of Dart you're at? He hasn't given the version. It's probably the line numbers change between versions.
That's true. I haven't updated today.
So if you're looking, tell us tell us what version of Flutter, and then we can go look at it and see what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I know, you cannot selectively disable any master. Look at the master for Flutter.
Well, that's
master,
a branch, but that's not the.
No,
here's the thing.
L1063. Let's go look. Let's go have a quick look.
63 in dev, I think. No, 63 in stable is not it.
It said master.
I know. I'm just telling you, it does not do it in stable.
Slider theme.
And I'm sure this almost sounds like a linter ignore.
Let's go take a look. Let me find it. I'm bringing up on stream. 1 second.
1063.
1060. I'm not seeing what he's seeing. So I want to know, is this what you're talking about? Because this is not selectively disabling anything. This
hang on.
Oh, that's 11. Those are 11.
Go up 100.
Oh,
100.
Sorry, my bad. Whoops.
10,
up. No, up a little. There you go.
Up, there. Get preferred.
Rect get preference.
What about it? There's no disablement of stuff going on here.
Yeah, and in stable, it's that line is documentation for the offset parameter.
I don't know what he.
Yeah.
Give it a second.
What kind of null safety do you need turned off on that? What I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't see any null. There's required. There's
nothing about null safety here unless.
Oh, wait.
Does he mean just because it's got required parameter?
Are you talking about the fact that the offset is enabled and is discrete are not required?
No, that's no.
Yes. Okay, yeah, the Booleans. Okay.
Oh, this question came up on the
There's
Slack.
No question mark.
This question came up on the Discord, and I've already answered it there. This is an abstract class, and it's allowed to have things that need to be resolved for any concrete class. This is just an abstract, so we can go ahead and say that.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yep.
If it's because this is an abstract method, this is no implementation. It's up to the implementation to actually resolve that problem, basically.
Yep.
It will have to resolve it. It will be required to resolve it.
I came up with. It took me about 5 minutes to come up with that, but
you know what? There's another.
I gave him already.
There's another interesting thing that you can change. Is what we did last week. Most people don't realize you can change the return type of a superclass, right? Like again, people just assume it has to be the same. It's kind of frowned upon, but you can do it. On the overridden class, and you can also do. The other thing you can do is you can add parameters, right? You can actually, if it's I think it was optional or named, you can actually add more parameters as you go up. And that's kind of how theme.
Oh, sorry, I misspelled your name.
What's the theme? The
theme extension.
Yeah, theme extension. Theme extension's copied with method does this. It declares itself as being, I think, optional parameters, but none. But then, like the overriding method can have those parameters added to, or name parameters. I forget. And it's the same. Same deal.
I'm really glad that you caught this because it's been a long time since we got all excited about finding some edge case cool, that seems to break all the rules.
Yeah. Dart can be
There you go.
tricky from time to time. Yes, there
Yeah.
are some subtle,
No, that's cool.
interesting overlays. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Next.
All right.
Having handed that one down. Next.
Oh God.
What?
Okay.
What?
We need to stop two people from driving. You guys babble for a minute. I got to go find that question.
Oh, he disconnected it for a second.
I
Oh,
got
then
it.
let me explain. Let me fill by just saying I won't be here next week because I will be in surgery on that day, and I'm getting my hip replaced, and that has been stopping me from going out to visit y'all in face to face for 2 years now. And I will be able to be back on the road again. Sometimes.
In other words,
supported
Randall
by
wants you to
people
buy him a
on-
beer.
I don't drink beer, but yeah, something along that line. Yes, something along
All
that
right.
line.
Thank you for the distraction, Randall. I did.
Okay. Is that enough?
I-
Should I keep going?
All righty. So I'm doing some image stuff and having the gesturing issue on the edge of the widget while image is scaled and rotated slightly. You could show example or solution. Rutwig, I don't know what you mean by the gesturing issue. That's really vague.
I think no, but this can just be like a language barrier. A is also
True.
a worth understanding here. So it's I'm having a I'm having a gesturing here.
Well, I'm sorry. It's not a question of a versus the. It's a. Can we get a little bit more information about?
He's trying to scan and rotate. No, I can read it. Like he's trying to scan and rotate, and he's having a problem with processing those gestures at the edge of the widget.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'd love to. We can maybe have a play around that in a minute. Let's see how we go.
First, quick question: is the transformation of the scale and rotate inside the gesture detector, or is the gesture detector in there so that it will scale and rotate along with? You see what I mean? Or will it move with it? Is the first question.
Yeah, we'll have a look in a minute. I think I know what he's talking about, but also equally, it shouldn't be a problem. So I'd like to just show how I would do it, and then we can see if that actually has experience of the problem he's talking about.
We want to keep doing questions for a bit. We'll leave that one in the queue.
Yeah, let's do that. So just on a point of this, for those that don't know, we did actually have a question come up last week, which I want to actually have a look at, which was how do you deal with having your widget rendering outside its bounds and do touch outside its bounds? That was another thing that came up. So yeah, go on.
All right. Yeah, we're going to leave that question in the queue. It is not being dismissed. We'll just get back around to working with it some more. What's happened in the Flutter? There are a lot of releases lately. Updates. A lot of great contributions.
I think that update schedule has changed.
There's some bug fixes. What's that?
We normally get point releases. I think they are coming more often, but we're expecting point releases more often. So I think the idea is that we get quarter release. I can't remember what the release schedule was. They changed it, but it was like quarterly stables, monthly betas, or whatever, and then like we actually have one per week. Then I guess as the next level down. So yeah, this is expected.
Right? And also there may be some hot fixes. So.
Yeah,
but it always comes down to things are getting better.
Yeah, I mean, who cares if there's lots of changes if it's getting better, right? This was today, right?
If you want lots of changes, just download the zip file on a Friday, then install it on a Sunday.
Well,
all right.
Here you go. Hang on, before you go disappear. There you go. Flutter 3.16.3. Here's the changes. In the standard Flutter announce channel, and this is here hotfix issues. Skier fix for possible inch overflow in canvas when user calls would generate data. Sure. Fix and crash on iPad when selecting share controls. Fix rendering bug with elevation of 0 material components. Ability to customize navigation bar indicator overlay. Nice. DDS fix. So this is display data exchange, isn't it? No, DDS. I mean, I'm thinking about something else. Ensure thread ID inches serialized correctly when using a debug adapter protocol. Yes, this is the debug. Oh, sorry, this is the Dart debug system service. That's one, yeah. Adjust the nullability of computations in the implementation of the upper bound algorithm CFE. Fixes missing closure completion entries for function parameters and LSP-based editors like VS Code. There you go. So minor things, but sounds pretty nice for those people that have those issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. I think we need the word how in front of this, but maybe. To create a type of dynamic component, and this is rendered on the screen, either as text or image, and we can update its values.
We had this one.
What pattern?
We did that.
No, okay, I missed. Okay, sorry, I missed.
And we did that last week.
Yeah.
That's the XML to widget.
Any recommendations on migrating from M2 to M3 in an iterative way without doing everything at once? I want to play. I want to be that guy for a minute in not a good way and do the Stack Overflow thing. You want to do this, I'm going to tell you don't, and do this other thing. So the best way to migrate from M2 to M3 is to buy a Windows machine.
He's talking about material 2, material 3.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. What were
M3
you
doesn't
thinking?
exist yet, does it? I don't know.
Oh man.
Right.
That's what I was sitting there wondering. Okay, material
Okay.
2 to material 3 in an iterative way without doing everything at once. Well,
So
I mean,
it's I don't think there's. I mean, you can do. Here's the thing: you can override theme. You could start. I tell you what, how I could do that in an iterative way that I could think of is at the top level. You're defining how you generate your theme data in your material 2 style and your material 3 style, whatever that might be, with whatever parameters you want. Then during down your tree at some point on one screen, you could say wrap that in a theme widget and give it your material 3 theme, and then have it partially. So you can start doing that at widget level and higher and higher and higher, and eventually start removing those theme widgets as you don't need them. That's the only way I can think about doing it iteratively.
Another way to think of this question: what about the widgets changes? What about the material 3 widgets instead of just the theming?
Well, that's what it does. You change. It's the same widgets. Like I mean, you could just have a couple new widgets, but they all support material 2, material 3. It's just that the behavior of the widgets change and a few of the parameters change, and there is work to be done. But the thing is, this is what happens when you use, like, again, it's that notion of using material design. Like for most people, they don't use. I mean, yeah. Good luck.
But most people aren't using it properly. You know, thank you. Is it Frey? I hope I got it right. Thank you for actually using material properly. First of all, too many people don't. The fact that you even know to ask this question is a good sign.
Is there I thought there was a migration guide I saw about material 3 as well.
There's some material 3 migration somewhere. I'm sure there was.
Oh, that was. That's interesting. There's actually.
You want to share?
Yeah, sorry. I just found this article from last year. So this is from December 2022. Migrating your Flutter app to Material 3 by guess who? Taha. So he's a known member in the community and everything, but he's written an article on this, and this might be out of date now, for all I know, right? But it's nice that he's showing you and documenting the different ways you might transition one widget to the other. I did actually have
on the Code Magic blog.
Yeah, the Code Magic blog. Yeah.
I mean, I'll put that in the link in the chat. I think again though, like for example, I was fighting. I remember I was transitioning that from Material 2 to Material 3, and I was fine with the way the app bar behaved and how to do that correctly and the starting names. But once I got my head around the changes, it all went. The rest of it went really quick. So I don't know. I've not got really better suggestion than yeah. I think if you've got a large app and you're trying to do it widget by widget, screen by screen, then use the theme widget to wrap those other widgets in the Material 3 theme as you go, and you can mix the two for at least for a period of time until you completely. Oh, Mike on Twitter. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, migrator. Yeah.
Right. What's next?
I'm sorry. I'm just picturing Mike Rydstrom trying to answer that before coffee. Anyway,
It's
if
Mike
you
here.
know Mike and you've seen him before coffee, all right. Could you share projects built using RxDart with GitHub repository?
You can share any project with GitHub repository.
So I was going to say, go look at Invoice Ninja. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Still open source.
Where is Hillel these days?
He's around.
Yeah.
I think he's just busy, like all of us.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
His Flutter show kind of petered out a little bit for a while. I don't know if it's back on again.
So Hillel is the man behind Invoice Ninja and also the
it's all widgets.com.
It's all widgets.com. Yeah.
Yes. Smart dude.
Phrase said, yeah, same approach. That's good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's for the temporary team day. Cool. So let's carry on here. What's next?
All right, carrying on. There. 2 people driving. I have one state management question. Because you were with Flutter since the very beginning, would you recommend vanilla or something like Block Riverpod?
Riverpod.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally go Riverpod or vanilla, but Block is an excellent system. Don't get me wrong, Block is great for a whole lot of people, but Block has a structure that is a little bit reminiscent of oh goodness, my mind just went blank. Redux.
Right.
It's the way it's structured is kind of like Redux, and that still gives me hives. So
I think I could say the same about Riverpod to some degree, like the way you had to pre-make all your connections, the way you pre-make your store in Riverpod. I mean, they're all state management. They're all going to be very similar. And to be honest, just pick one. Do yourself. I don't care. Just keep it consistent.
And I mean, as we're saying, the other thing too is you can just make your MyApp stateful and inject everything there, and then pull whatever you need out of the context with my ancestor state of type. That's an old trick that Simon did that I still play with occasionally.
Yeah, the other thing is like, you can use like an inherited widget, have your app state in your app with top level app widget, have your state, have an inherited widget that provides it to the tree, and now you've got, for most apps, a very easy state management system, vanilla, right? Go check out the WoW shopping app that I posted earlier. In fact, I'll post. Do I have a link here?
Here's a funny one.
Because that's got like lots of different examples of state management and things. The idea was to try out lots of different things. So go check out the branches in the repo, because there's a branch of Git, there's a branch adding Riverpod, there's a branch adding provider, there's a branch adding Get It. So you can try lots of different ones.
I think it was probably about 9 months or a year ago, but I remember a conversation on the side with several of us, including Matt Carroll, and Matt had some pretty choice words to say about doing state management via packages and such. And I'm not sure they were able to be put on the show.
All right. What's next? Come on.
All right. How to embed DartPad in a Flutter web project.
It's DartPad page, I think, isn't it?
Just do an iframe.
Oh, there's that too.
Just you can output, you can use the platform widget system that's in Flutter Web just to stick an iframe in your page that points to DartPad. And if you want to speak to a particular DartPad, you can link it with the the idea, the GitHub gist, right?
And all these pages, all these examples in the API documentation are actually DartPad pointers.
Yeah.
So
in fact,
thousands of DartPads on the API pages. So
the way that works, you can, in fact, Flutter Web now supports embedding in web pages directly.
Yeah.
So DartPad is a Flutter Web project, so I don't see any reason why you couldn't just embed it directly.
Oh.
Oh no, it's not. Anyway, the point here is you go check out how the documentation does it. It's all open source. There you go.
maybe. It's also
There
a
you go.
package, maybe. DartPad
There you
widget.
go. Try that. Thanks.
I'm not trying to be a smart ass or anything like that. I'm not trying to be mean, but I do have a question about this next question, because
A
my
meta
question is, did you Google it first?
Oh,
What's this one?
what is
This
the
question is, how do I use geofencing in a Flutter app?
Have you done the code labs? It's in there.
Well, and here's another one. Okay, these are searches,
back.
or this is a search for just pub.dev geofencing. And we've got easy geofencing, we've got geofence Flutter, geofence service, geofencing Flutter plugin. Geolocation does not count. Geofencing package. How to create, okay, Stack Overflow, where you'll probably get wrong information unless Randall wrote the answer. In which case, hopefully it's not wrong information.
John, he can't speak up for himself. Oh, we lost Simon. Oh no.
Oh no,
Okay.
he said he'd be right back.
Oh, okay, right.
He said he'd be right back. But yeah, I mean, really the way to do this is to find, I would find like 3 or 4 of those packages and read through them. Make sure that the ones you're looking at are Dart 3 compatible, of course. Make sure they've been well maintained. So let me see. I'm just double checking with the rest of the questions that have been coming in. This is all the kind of stuff that I do while Simon is doing other stuff.
Right.
Mr. Reality, you know better. Come on, we cut off. It's almost 2 hours into the stream. You know we cut questions already, dude.
We have to have time for live coding now. We have to have time for Simon to amaze us with yet another way of doing something that none of us thought of until we watched Simon come up with it trivially, as he often does. So I'm trying to think if there's any other announcements I want to do. Yeah, so I'll, like I said on the stream earlier, I'm gone next week. I'm probably will be back about 3 or 4 weeks after that. I'm not sure. Has to be after I'm off all the heavy drugs, because I don't want to be on this show going, yeah, and it's to be not much use for either you or me to do that. So wait till I'm off the heavy drugs.
To that end, now where I am at in the country I'm in, certain things are legal.
Yeah.
But some states are cheaper than others because of taxes. So normally I have to pay somewhere around $45 US for 2.83 grams. And I was able to go to Michigan last weekend, where I got out of the state. I went on a spending spree because it was $5 a gram.
Cool.
Freezer full.
And thank you everybody for all your wishes and blessings.
Yes. Yes.
From what I've heard, this is going to be a lot easier than when I actually broke it 2 years ago. So there was healing time
Fingers
involved,
crossed.
getting my body ready for
I know,
that.
and I think there are a number of people who don't know what you're having done.
I'm having my right hip replaced, so it's being completely pulled out and replaced. There was a brace put on it 2 years ago after I fell in the shower the day before my 60th birthday. I fell and I spent my 60th birthday in an emergency room in a Tijuana hospital. So it's a long, crazy story. So I've been part Mexican for 2 years, and that all comes out. And I can't keep it. They said, no, sterility problems. We can't do that. Okay, well, I guess I will no longer be Mexican. I won't have to do Duolingo and learn Spanish every day like I've been doing. I'll get to slow down.
Bueno, no entiendo.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's one of my, I can't remember it right now, but one of my favorite phrases in Spanish is that it's a good thing I don't understand Spanish.
Yeah. I did tell people when I was doing karaoke last week that I'd be gone for a little while. And in doing so, I said, right now I'm barely walking around to get up to the mic. By the time I come back, I'll be high kicking for my own self to the New York. I'll be doing the Rockettes in the background as well. So probably not quite that soon, but we'll see. And yes, I used to be a competition skier, snowboarder, and I was into performance roller skating for many years. So Not having the ability to walk longer than a block or stand for more than 10 minutes right now is really taking the wind out of my sails. And I have to sleep very carefully and only occasionally turn over on my right side. All of that is hopefully going away once I get a new hip. So,
all right, very cool.
And it also means
All
I can run 60 miles an hour in circles. And when I get the other hip done, I can run straight line 60 miles an hour. But right now it's only going to be 60.
It's going to be like NASCAR. He'll only be able to turn left.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Anyway,
yep.
I was going to challenge Randall with this one. When I press the back button, I want to go to the first route. Okay, which sounds like you're replacing the entire stack. Yeah. And then again, when it's pressed, quit the app, which I've never done intentionally.
You can do that.
Isn't that the normal behavior? Well, normally pop one level off.
If you have like 5 things pushed on your stack, I think he's saying that then when you press back once, it goes back to the first screen of your app, and then if you press back again, it will leave. So all you're saying is if wherever you are inside your app, you hit the back button and it takes you back to the first screen. And if you're on the first screen, it takes you out of the app. So the first screen out of the app is default behavior. So don't worry about that. Whenever you push another route on your stack, you can wrap your widget in a will pop scope, have it return false to change the default behavior, and do navigate pop until.
Yep.
Navigate .of pop until.
Or you can use Go Router and just replace the entire stack. I mean, there are a bunch of different ways to do this.
Yeah. There's
it's basic logout behavior.
I think the whole sort of navigation thing. So I've done a couple of videos on this, and I can explain how to do this in a minute. But yeah, the Navigator 1 behavior is you can still do it with Navigator 2, but Navigator 1 behavior, yeah, same thing. Yeah. When you
I use Navigator. Most of the time I still use Navigator 1 because I don't need the complexity.
There's a thing that I think people do is that they rely on named routes, and if you rely, so for the most people don't realize it. So when you use navigation, it has to push a route on the stack, and the route does the animation and manages the transition between those top level screens. That route is an object like any other object, and it has a function that it calls a builder, which generates the contents for the screen. That is, so when you push when you have a series of like say routes inside your material app, that is saying for this path name, for named route, this is the name, use this builder to build the widget I want for that screen, but not the route. The route there's a separate route builder that's being used. Material route builder, Cupertino route builder, depending on your platform that you're on. So, but you can actually just push a page route builder straight to navigation stack. Yes, sorry, yes, a good point. We're now on pop scope, but it'll warn him of that. It's deprecated. Anyway. So back to the point here is that yeah, you can I don't know what my point was. Now it came up. Oh, that was it. Yeah. So when you push a route, you can actually push a custom page route that extends the standard page route class. Now it has a type. You can then use a predicate with pop until that tests to see is the route this instance, or is the route name that I'm looking at this route name. And so you can go back to the home screen, and that's just like one function call. So it's nice and simple. We can have a look in a minute.
One real quick that wasn't put up. We were discussing this before. What can you do to improve SEO quality of a Flutter web app? Number one, you shouldn't be doing SEO in a Flutter web app. It's a web app. Do your SEO in the web page. And if you're making the whole web page with Flutter, you're giving yourself headaches unnecessarily.
So I'd recommend you, if you already have Dart code built in your web page, use Jasper. Convert to Jasper, use that for your web page. And that's in fact what the Flutteristas did for their thing. It's all open source for the Flutterista conference. You can go check that out.
Yeah. But Flutter's for web apps, not for websites, not for web pages. You can, but again, if you remember the movie Jurassic Park, don't become so enamored with the fact that you could that you don't bother to stop and think if you should.
I think that the fact of the matter is, if SEO works by having bots visit your server, requesting for the web page as if it was an app, downloading that JavaScript, downloading that HTML, rendering your page, and then analyzing what's been rendered to see what should be shown. If you're using if you're using the canvas renderer, then it's going to see a canvas, and it's not going to it has no notion of what things look like, right? Like, it hasn't got eyes like a human. It can't see what's been drawn on that canvas. So it's only going to see the metadata that's been given, and that's kind of limiting. So this is why SEO doesn't really work. Also, the fact that it has to download and render takes quite a portion of time the first time around, which also can affect SEO. And this can be the same with all sorts of JavaScript libraries and everything else. It's one of the reasons why server-side rendering is very important, because the idea is that rather than waiting for JavaScript on the client side to do the rendering and do the loading and downloading and accessing of a database or whatever, which is what you want for most clients, but for bots. For bots, you want it just to come down. Here's the HTML, all pre-rendered. Read that in as if it's a database. Extract the text, extract all the graphics, and just put that in your search engine. So, yeah, Jasper is where I'd say you should be looking at.
I'm planning on doing some serious work with Jasper coming up soon, so I'm playing with little experiments now to kind of get the feeling of that.
Okay, I think that's it. I think that's the.
The only one that we have left is the one that we're going to look at the live code on. Sorry, Lasser. I'm sorry. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But yeah, we cut questions off a while ago. Technically, the stream, we used to say we were going to try to limit the stream to an hour. Well, that ship sailed and sank.
We did the hour, and we're over here now.
Yeah, the ship can only be reached by submarine now.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm going to have to get going. 2 hours is my limit right now. And actually, my jaw is having a lot of fun because I had a root canal the other day. Oh, joy.
Ooh.
Fun times.
Hey, the funny thing, though, is that, quick little tip, my root canal was actually less unpleasant than most other dental work I've had, because when they take that little swab and wipe it up in your mouth to make it numb before they do the needle, don't let them swipe it and throw the thing away. Have them swipe it and just stick the swab there and leave it up against your gum for 10 minutes. Then when they come back, you don't feel a thing.
That's what yeah. Anyway, let's carry on. Right.
Yeah.
All right.
I won't see you next week. I'll see you in a month or so, probably.
Yep. Yeah. Fingers crossed. Be well and heal up quick.
I hope so. Cool.
Thank you all for the birthday wishes, everyone. I am going to go figure out something lazy to do with the rest of my day.
Awesome.
Happy birthday and ciao.
Yes. Okay, cool. Where's the question? I think the question's still there. Do you need the question again?
Let me bring it up for a second.
It almost happened again. I almost ended the stream.
Don't do it.
Ooh,
that would have been a double nightmare.
Very sad. Double rainbow.
So gesturing outside. Let's just call it that. So this is this comes up quite a lot, and it's not just this issue directly, but there's quite a few things around this. So first of all, we'll do a little bit of just a little bit of reorg here. Try and there we go. It's a bit better. So I'm just trying to get things a bit better organized for the viewers at home.
Cool.
There we go.
Are you sure your mic is on auto gain? Because every time you stop talking, it bleeps up with the noise sound.
Something has changed. Someone's changed auto gain settings on me because it's meant to be off. It says it's off in the browser. However, obviously it's on. So
is it set? Did you check the setting in StreamYard too?
Yeah. That says it's off. Yeah.
I
know it's jumped up, so something is changing the game. But
yeah. Okay. Anyway, it's just noticeable in the last couple shows. I'm not sure why.
I'm sure we'll figure it out one day. Right.
Yeah. Someday.
Over the rainbow. Right. So I guess for the first first point here. Let's get a. So who was it asked this question? Rutvick.
Christian asked it on behalf of somebody in the other channel. Now we don't know who the channel was.
I think that was. Sorry, bear with me.
Oh, Rutvick. It's here. It's here and there. Rutvick.
Yeah. I think Rutvick was the person who posted some code earlier, but let me just check. Hang on. Bear with me. Sorry, everyone.
Yep.
Is there a way to like get a gist up just on its like hash? Kismet, is that you?
Kismet? What?
No. So someone posted. I'm going to bring this over because someone posted a question earlier, on a similar thing.
Oh, okay.
The entire green rectangle should be tappable in the area that detects the objects, and this is. I don't know if Rutvick's still here. Do we have him in the chat anywhere? I don't know. Hopefully this is him. Otherwise, we'll just use this code as a base because someone's asked this question, and I'll go to try and figure out like where, who was the owner of that gist is someone called Kismet. I don't know if that's the same person on GitHub or not. All right, so let's see what have we got here. First of all, let's get some. Get some things going on here. Yeah. So I'll just tighten it up a little bit before we get anywhere else. And let's give it a debug banner. Then we'll run this up and see what we get.
I'm still watching the chat in case there are questions about what you're doing specifically right now, but we want to defer any other questions to other times, other days when I'm not here. Sadly, it'll be the end of a long streak of actually being here every week.
All right, let's have that compiling for a second. So let's just briefly look at this example. So what we've got here is, okay, so we've got a material app with a widget. That widget has a scaffold and its body center is a row. For those that don't know, let's just bring this over on the screen. This is what it looks like. Try and keep both on the screen at once. Let's get rid of that wasted space. There we go. Right, so so what we've got here is a overflow box with max height, double infinity 12, gesture detector, and I'm not using. So sorry, someone just asked what the PC spec is. Yes, I have quite a decent spec machine, but it's nothing to do with is directly with Android Studio. So this is most IDs. Most IDs are quite heavy because they have to cache everything. So like when it knows what all these things are. I just want to be clear about this point, right? Most people don't realize. So looking at this, it has to know that this container, look, it references these other containers when I click on it. The points in the text are referred together. Now I've got objects that represent every little character, essentially pretty much every character in your source code is represented by an object somewhere in your browser, in the code browser, as a code editor. Sorry. So the fact of the matter is it's really heavy. Just an IDE in general is really heavy. Then you've got like all the fact that it's got documentation. It links this will go link to where the class is. All this reference material. This takes up memory. Now, as you can see down here at the very bottom, it says down here, I'm using 926 megabytes of an allocated 1,200 of a maximum of 4 gig I've allocated possibly allocated to the editor. That's nothing. A browser tab now it's 200 megabytes, right? A blank browser tab is 100 megabytes, right? This is not an emulator, by the way. This is actually a real device, right? Even then, an emulator still is a couple of gigabytes, right? But yes, you're right. You're going to take up that amount from your machine. It's going to be heavy. I'm also streaming and everything else. So you do need quite a powerful machine to do all that kind of stuff. But this machine, I think the CPU is from like 2017, 2018 or something. It's not like a brand new thing. It has got 64 gig of RAM. Max it out. Why not? Max the motherboard out. But again, I hardly touch that. Like, I think max I've ever used is about 32, and that's with like 4 emulators going or something. So it's not necessarily that. This is actually IntelliJ. This is not Android Studio. This is lighter weight version of IDA's JetBrains IDE than the one that comes with Android Studio with all the Android stuff baked in. So I would recommend this over Android Studio. The other thing I'd say is there are other lightweight code editors out there that you can use if you have a limited machine. But frankly, I don't use I prefer IntelliJ. I mean, I like to be able to click on something and see the references to that object immediately, right? 16 gig, I say 16 gig is perfect for a development machine. Plenty enough RAM. Look, I just showed you I'm using 1 gigabyte for an open project right now with plenty of files and plenty of everything else, right? Even when I've got a maxed out project that I'm using, I can't think I've ever used more than 2, right? Caching your compiler and everything else, Java might take up 2 if you're running against Android. But yeah, I mean, it's going to take up memory. But yeah, as I say, anyway, so things like this, I command click, the stuff's there because it's in memory and it's there and it's usable. Also, remove the plugins you don't use. If you've got a bunch of plugins in your IDE that you're not using, let's say it's got stuff in there for like CSS styling and everything else, well, turn it off. Turn off all the plugins that you're not using. If you're never going to use them, why you got them turned on, right? So yeah, install IntelliJ, disable the plugins you don't use. You're going to have a lightweight experience compared to maybe a fully loaded Android Studio. Anyway, back to this. Sorry. Right. So as it says here, tapping. So we've already got a couple of different things here, right? So one is he's got an overflow box. There's literally told it overflow outside your bounds, but it overflows the rendering. It does not overflow the touch. Touch is not the same as a rendering. So by default, well, I'll just show you here. In fact, can we go into existing one, perhaps? I'm wondering if I've got a good example of this. Let's just wrap this in a padding, a useless padding, but padding nonetheless, of let's just do that for a second.
Padding is always useful. Oh, that's really useless. A padding of 0. I love it.
Yeah, a padding. Well, it's useless because this is an overflow box of infinity, which is not actually take up any space anyway. So the padding is useless, right? Like literally, if I do that, it's not going to change anything on the screen, right?
Yeah.
But if I go to padding, the only reason I want to do this is kind of follow down this tree. So it's a single child render object. It renders a render padding, and we follow that down. The render padding is a render shifted box. Sorry, just trying to get this down to the lowest level here, just so I can see if I can find the base implementation here. Here, hit test children, right? Now, what's interesting about hit test children is what calls hit test children. It'll be the one time I wanted to just talk about the idea now it has to search. Yes, I want the base implementation, which is going to be annoying right now. Let's go to the parent, and that should have it in here, render box. So it is in the documentation, as you can see. I'm just going to skip all that. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. So let's skip the assert. So the hit test function is called on the render box to determine if this object should be tappable, right? Here's the position that you tapped within the bounds of the object. Here's the result where you want to put the result. And look, what does this do? What does this one line do? Does the size of this widget contain the point? If it doesn't go down the tree to the children. Ta-da! This is the problem you're experiencing here, right? And this is the default behavior because you need to optimize. Otherwise, what happens when you tap on the screen, every bloody widget on the entire screen is going to get that touch point and it's going to expect it to be there. Now, you can override this behavior, but why? Right? The real perspective is that rendering outside your bounds should not be taken to this degree, right? There's another way of doing this, the exact same layout that does not do it this way and it allows touching, right? of what you're looking for without going overflow, without doing these special things. Drawing outside your bounds is there for things like doing drop shadows and things that are still relative to the object that are just nice to see on the screen. If you want to render anywhere on the screen, move the widget on the screen, render it somewhere else on the screen. Like there's plenty of ways of doing that. So that's where we're going to get to now, right? So again, this is the problem, and it's the approach. Now, if I was to comment this out, let's do it. Let's comment this out. This is the underlying. This is literally the underlying if statement that causes the problem you're having, right? So let's comment it out in Flutter, right? And
you are modifying your SDK right now. You're modifying your SDK. We do not recommend this at home.
do not recommend this course of action.
We are professionals. We can do this. Do not do this at home.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful what you wish for, otherwise, right? So so now we've done that. If I tap on the green portion, it says it's a line. There's a line here. Okay, hang on a minute. So that's showing it's tapping there. So okay, so again, I was hoping that was going to do it. It has actually. Let me just check again. This is recompiling it. What are we working on right now? Someone's asked. He's new here.
Yep.
So the question was asked, how do I tap outside the bounds of my widget? How do I receive taps outside the bounds of my widget? And we're just talking about why this is not a good thing about it. So if I tap on this green portion here, according to this layout, he's on an overflow box of height infinity, which means it will render outside the bounds, which is where this green bit below and green bit happens below that. But it won't tap outside. So if you add a clip rect here, there you go. That's actually what you're actually getting from touch, right? Portion that's inside the bounds of the child, not outside, right? Okay, coming back. So we got this overflow box, great. Now I was hoping just to quickly edit the framework, but what's actually happening here is is there an early optimization in the cert? I don't think there is. I think what's actually happening here is that this hit test routine is also used in another place. I'm going to see if I can find it because I'm curious about this, if it's just this limitation. So it should be, let's just dig down. I'm going to dig down here. And I know this is going way deeper than most people want to go, but I want to see this. So there is a part of render. I'm just using this to go find. Here it is. Default mixin. I think this has the default hit test children. Does this have a default hit test? No, it doesn't. So let's just make sure.
I've got a hard out in 45 minutes. So after that, you're on your own.
All right. Thanks for the reminder. Let's have a hit test. Yeah. So there is somewhere else. I'm not going to go hunting for it, but it's an optimization that is more than right for the platform. Right, it would be a nightmare to do it any other way. Anyway, I'm going to put that. I'm going to not modify. I'm going to undo that because I do not want to have a modify. You do not want to have a modified framework. Trust me. Anyway, this is like digging the Minecraft caves. Yep, it is. It's digging for gold right now. Anyway, so back to what we actually want to deal with here, right? So what we're going to do here. Let's get some room. Okay, so the way to do the same layout is to actually like lay it out in those same positions, but not bound it within things that are more limiting, right? So in this case, you could still have the orange box in that size. You can still have the green box on top, but then you use a stack, right? I mean, everyone knows this, right? So if we now wrap our body in a stack. And then we take our green box. So this is kind of So actually, there's a thing that people don't. Do you know what? I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you what another problem is that you're going to experience trying to replicate this. I think it's also why the example has been done the way it is. It's a clever example. Okay, so here's a stack, and on top of that, we could put a center And inside that center, we're going to put our lovely green box. Let's grab that green gesture detected box, right? Height and width, sure. Let's go for that. I don't mind what the height and width is, right? Okay. So if we do this, and then we're going to get rid of the one that's overflowed on the inside, since we don't need that anymore. Now, if you look, what's happened now is the green box has moved to the center, right? Not to the center of the orange one, it's to the center of the screen because it's now above it. But now everywhere is tappable, right? I can tap up here and it's going to be tappable. So we've achieved the same result, right, of what the guy was looking for, but the position is wrong. How do you resolve this issue? Right. So one option in this case is we can just wrap this in a sized box. This is kind of the lame way, right? And we can say width. Well, the width is going to be, say, width is going to be 120 or something, or we can even put this in a row. This might be like easier to understand. Sized box. Was it width 60, right? Width 60. I mean, there's a bunch of things you can do, right? So we could even let's give it that one. Is that the right way? I think I pushed it the wrong way. Yeah, hang on. Main axis size min. Yeah, I pushed it the wrong way. Sorry, the other way over here. There you go. Right. So it's achieved the same layout, but now what we've got is we've got this hard-coded width. We ideally would put hard-coded width and height anyway, but we've got this hard-coded thing that relates to a completely different portion of the layout. That's completely different depth. Maybe these hierarchies are very deep and unrelated to each other. So how do you solve this issue? It's a known issue, right? So the way you do this correctly is with what's called a layer. So there's a follower layer and a leader layer. There's widgets for this follower, composite transform follower. So, so this is the follower that's on top. So let's go wrap this in a follower. We're going to completely get rid of our row. We're going to need to get, let me undo this for a second. Let's get rid of our row. Interesting. Oh, this is 2 children. Sorry. If there's 1 child, then you'll get the remove option, so that because it can remove it. Right, we're going to wrap our gesture detector in a transform follower, and then our target in a transform target. Fair enough. Now, these are 2 widgets that will basically link the 2 layers together. This is how your text cursor works in the text field, if you wanted to know. The 2 things work by having what's called a link. There's a link parameter, and this is how the 2 things can refer to each other and link to each other together. So you obviously need to pass that link object around and handle them together. But you know, there's a bunch of ways of doing that, right? So this is what's called a layer link, and this holds the state of the connection between the 2. So we pop that in both. Now what we've done is we've now linked this container to this one in terms of position on the UI. So if I do this, there it is. Look, exactly the same position on the UI, although it's just in the stack, right? We haven't used a position. We haven't used anything. What's really clever about this is if something in here was to change its size, so I'm just going to add a text field on purpose here, and I'm going to make it multi-line. What's it? Max lines null. And then we're also going to wrap that in a padding. I'm going to just bring it over slightly. Edge insets. Oops. Say 60. Do we have a box somewhere?
Where'd it go?
Should have a. You know what? It's probably not got any size to it. Let's just. It's just probably underneath our green, still underneath our green widget at the moment.
Yeah, probably.
Let's just add a. You know what? I want to show this kind of interactively. Let me just. I can put this actually further over. Let me do that. That's probably a better idea. That's a good idea. Right. Take this. Red overflow box with the text. Let's get rid of that. I don't really care for that text. This is not needed. Let's get rid of that. Nope. Right. That's interesting. All right. Let's set a minimum width to it. What am I doing? Constraint box. So we can set a min width 60 and
multiple of 8. Isn't all supposed to be a multiple of 8?
Yeah, well, it depends on. You don't have to, but there's also the notion of a 4x4 grid, so has to line up boundary of 4. I mean, there's many different layers. I want this the same as the size of the widget. That's all. Why? I don't know why I'm not seeing the text field here. Am I doing something wrong? Like, you don't have to have a controller.
Weird. Yeah.
Let's just do something here. Let's just make sure we're
even a text form field with all the defaults should be something you can see.
I'm expecting to see a black box here. I feel like
DevTools can tell you where it is.
Can it?
I hope so.
We'll see. Text form field. It's saying it's right there.
Is it hidden behind the red?
Oh, I just literally fallen foul of. Have I just fallen foul because it's inside, not lost? Hang on. Literally the same thing. There it is. Okay. Maybe not.
Stacking order. Stacking order.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was a row for some reason in my head. Okay. Anyway, here's the thing. So if I tap in this box and go down, yeah, let's get rid of that height. There we go. I've put the composite transform follower around. Let's move this around the parent. I'm just trying to show this as a quick example. So I don't want to make things more complicated than they need to be. But I do want to just show this off. So let's restart. All right. So yeah, let's sort this out. Sorry, we'll get there eventually. Right. Come on. Okay. So back to where we were. Yay. I tap in the red box, which is now a text field. And if I start typing, right, you see the green box is moving up because the green box is around the row, right? If we set the cross-axis alignment to top, the orange box would also move up, right? Because that's the top of the row. Starts, right? Equally, I can also, just for those that don't want to play along, you can press this button here and you get like the extra debug borders and things. Anyway, so there I hit save. There it is at the top. If I delete stuff from the text field, up, down it goes. So this is what I'm saying about like the layer is linked, right? So the follower will always follow the position of the target, right? So don't think there's any more parameters on the target, but on the follower, you can also say what alignment you want it. And to be clear, I can still tap outside, right? Because it's on top, it's just a normal widget. It's not outside of anything, right? And then what you've actually got here is you've got a target anchor. So where on the target you want to anchor to. So we could say like bottom left. Let's do that. And what's going to happen is you'll notice that the green box is now anchored to the bottom left instead of over the top. So no matter where that orange box is going to go to, it's actually not the orange box is linked to, it's linked to the row. Maybe I change that again here. Now that I've changed this. Let's move the target around. Why not? You can also actively do this, right? So you can have a jump between different targets as well. So let's try that again. Here it is underneath, and there it is. It'll always stay underneath, even though they're not part of the same layer. Does that help anyone? I hope that kind of makes sense.
That's kind of slick, actually.
You've also got a follower anchor. So if I do alignment dot bottom left on that, then that would be bottom left of the green box is positioned to the bottom left of the target box. So now it goes at the top. If I put target top left, Now it's going to be above, right? So there's two alignments. You can have it positioned wherever you want, and then as the text changes, it'll move with it.
I was about to fire up an IDE to answer this question, but you might be able to answer for the stream as well. What built-in widgets also use these follower and tracker things? Can you see? Can you pop up a list of? Okay, are there any others? Isn't like what is what the thing when the tooltips?
Yeah.
Tooltips use it.
Range slider, autocomplete, text selection.
Cool.
Yeah, so the slider is probably using it for the bubble that pops up as you drag.
Okay.
Right, I'm assuming that's probably. Let's have a look. Yeah, show value indicator. Yeah. So it builds an overlay, puts the follower in it, and then it's overlaid on top and follows what's underneath.
Wow, that's cool.
So whenever you have also this is also used. I don't know why it's not coming up with those references now. I say that maybe they've changed it. The pop-up menus. So now you have like a pop-up menu button like this, or a selection or something like that, like a drop-down list.
Or I think won't tooltips use it? That should use this, right? What do they do to stay in the right place?
They may not stay in the right place. So there's a couple of widgets out there that they just do it the first time you open them up. They pop up at that place in the screen, and then they don't get like changed, right? Which kind of annoys. But let's have a look. Let's have a look. Tooltip. So it might be that menus are doing the same thing, but I'm pretty sure menu was, and maybe I'm thinking about menus that I've built that use this feature. But the original method before these were around, these linked things, was that you would just go get the position of a render object on the screen and say, draw at this position in an overlay.
Right.
Which works, but then, that's kind of lame as well.
I actually have a client that I'm supposed to be doing this for, where I have we want to have it so that when you type, I could have given you that as a task. Maybe you can still do it. Where you type, you've got a chat line and you type an @ and you want to pull up a list of users from a pop-up.
Yeah, you can do that.
Select one like that. Yeah. Why don't you make one of those, and I'll be done for my task for the day.
Okay. Does anyone interested in that? We can do that. Did this to handle? What was the question? The question was like, did tap out? Did this get the? I'm hoping it's got to the.
I think you answered the tap outside thing, which is basically
okay. Good. I think that was the main thing, right?
Yep.
I've lost the questions.
Yep.
Let's just briefly. Yeah. Let's just quickly. I want to see what tooltip's doing. Yeah. So ensure visible. Sure. Oh, that's sneaky.
What are they doing?
So they're adding a global route for pointer router. So this is so there's a thing where here it is, the gesture arena for disambiguation of gestures, but pointer router is where it delivers the pointers to the pointer events to. So they're actually adding their own delivery endpoint for pointer actions. So rather than going down the tree by default, they're actually adding their own to the routing table. That's powerful. So that all events, received or tap events. There's also the problem with doing this is that it completely avoids the gesture arena, which basically means that you don't get these gestures battling each other out for precedence. You're always going to just get the events. You're no longer part of that thing. So scrolling, you couldn't do this and start doing gestures for scrolling because other scroll things wouldn't know that your scrolling events were happening, and it would be terrible. So anyway, but I'm just kind of interested that they're actually using this for dispatching. I guess this is what they're doing for tap, for dismiss. So you can tap anywhere else, and as soon as the tap is received anywhere else, it dismisses the tooltip. So,
wow.
But where it taps it, hang on, let's just see. Let me take these. I'm going to take the earbuds out for a bit. There's only so many hours you can have it. I can have these in. Oh. Right, you still there?
I hear you.
Hopefully you can't hear yourself and no one can hear you.
Nope.
It's going to be bad.
I can't hear. I'm not getting any feedback now.
Good. Schedule show tooltip. Okay, hang on.
Time
Show.
Wow.
I just want to see how it's actually doing the show, but is it visible? Is it not visible?
It's like it animates it in and out.
Oh, there's a tooltip visibility.
Mm.
How I didn't even know that existed. There's a widget called tooltip visibility, which you can wrap around to override the visibility of descendant tooltips. I guess that's handy.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to turn off tooltips for a set children. Honestly, controller.reverse. So it's just let's go down to the build method. I want to know how these are showing now.
We could do hours of shows just wandering through the SDK.
Oh, totally.
The stuff that's in here.
I'll mouse enter. See, it schedules a show for the tooltip, and once it expires, it just runs the animation. So I'm guessing this is tooltip overlay, build tooltip overlay, overlay portal. What is this? I don't think I've ever used overlay portal before. Should we have a look?
Yeah, because that's actually one of the answers that Bard gave me yesterday when I'm trying to solve this thing.
What, using overlay portal?
Yeah.
A widget that renders its overlay children on an overlay. Yeah, okay. The overlay child is initially hidden until the overlay portal controller show is called on the associated controller. The overlay portal uses overlay child builder to build its overlay entry and renders it on specified overlay as if it was inserted using an overlay entry. This is handy because I've always done it the old-fashioned way, using an overlay myself and overlay entries. So it's nice that they've built a tool to do that for you.
I think this is fairly recent. This is something that was added like in 3.10.
This is quite recent. Again, it's new to me. Let's have a look. This widget requires an overlay ancestor. By the way, this is default. If you have a material app, you have an overlay. If you have a navigator, then you have an overlay. Navigator is the thing that builds the overlay widget, which includes Go Router and everything. They'll add a navigator. Anyway.
The overlay is where it renders the animation for page transition.
So you can control and hide. It will remove the widget. The widget will be built using builder. Will be removed from the widget next time it rebuilds. Stateful descendants and overlay child subtree may lose their state as a result. It's fair enough. So press to show or hide. Okay.
Cool.
But it's interesting that it says positioned 50-50. So yes, so this whole portal thing is positioning its children relative to the widget that you're on, which is helpful, I guess. I don't know if it must stick with it. They must be doing something, I guess.
And what if you accidentally position it too far out? Will it bang against the wall, or does it overflow? I wonder what it does when it's too big.
I don't think so. Like that was something. There's some packages. There's been multiple packages to solve that problem, but maybe this. Oh look.
What?
It says also overlay entry positioned as well as composite transform follower and composite transform target, which can be used to position the overlay child in relation to a linked widget.
Wow.
Okay, so this looks to be what we actually want to use. By the sounds of what this does. Targets root overlay, sure. Let's have a look. I just want to see how their overlay entry location, Z ordering, overlay portal controller.
It would also be the same code as, say, a button that has a drop-down menu that it activates. Wouldn't that be kind of...
Well, it doesn't use this unless they've changed it.
Okay.
So locations unused for Z index. Okay. Oh look, it's there's got a child render object. Surrogate proxy box. That just sounds render that surrogate proxy box.
We're finding all sorts of gold down here in this this cave.
I mean, it's certainly covers. It's certainly done very optimally and covers a lot of the requisite things that are required.
Yep.
It's interesting. They've actually, no, this is good. This is good.
Okay.
But yeah, they're getting around it by essentially. So this is how they, So okay. So they are it is all being transformed at the lower level, but they're doing it inside where it should be, inside layout and render.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting. Render theater.
Little puppets.
Yeah. And these. It'd be funny if you just called a method one day and then suddenly like something came up like Clippy on your screen, right?
Yeah. Friend all pop up.
Are you trying to code something? No. All right. So I want you just to see if they actually did.
We'll have to do a Gemini bot that we can demonstrate when it starts becoming publicly available. That'll be fun.
I'm not sure you can hit test. Oh, children hit test older. Oh, there's a mixin. Okay, is that doing the hit testing? Hit test children. Okay, that makes sense now. That sorts out that problem.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, right. So for example, just to be clear about this, we're talking about that whole overlay thing.
Okay.
This is essentially the same issue, right? So let's get back to the thing. So the overlay is surrounding your entire app, right? So they put the widget in the overlay so that it's not bound. So the side tapping is in the bounds of the overlay. So you're not having that same problem that you were seeing before. So you can tap inside without any special magic.
Right. You need to have your own stack to make that work then. Yeah.
All right. So what we were saying, so I kind of want to, do we want to save this? Does anyone care? I think we just showed off the, we showed off the follower. People can use it in their own stuff. I really want to know where this question came in. I can't remember where I saw it. To see if this was. Let me just wait 1 second.
So I have now 20 minutes to help
you. All
right.
Well, well, you have to leave in 20 minutes for your thing, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a soft 20 minutes, but every minute that I wait, it kind of risks that I can't do what I have to do today.
Say again?
I have 20 minutes. Okay. Ignore the rest of that.
All right. I think I will. Do we want to? I don't know.
Do you want to tackle the @ pops up a list of usernames that you can pick from?
It's going to be longer than 20 minutes. So I don't think it's so obviously popping up is fine. You can use an overlay portal with your composite transform target and it works, but you need to get the position from the text, which you can do. But again, it's like that alone's probably going to take 20 minutes. So I just don't want to go over. There's no point doing it unless we can finish it in time.
It's not my blood pressure medicine, so I can actually wait one day. Let's just keep going. Let's do it, and I'll just move that tomorrow.
Sure? Okay.
Yeah. Now I've got an hour and a half before my dev fest. So
okay,
be fine.
All right,
but let's not go an hour and a half.
No. I don't do it either. So, all right, so let's delete what we have here. Let's have a center and get rid of everything inside. And have a text field. In fact, what we're going to do, let's call this. So the idea is that you type in a text field, and then you get drop down list of things to select from, and we tap on it. It puts it in the text field. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're typing a chat, and then you go and you want to mention somebody.
Yeah. So let's do that. Is anyone else interested in this? No. Let's try it. So We'll
I
have
think
this
that's
as
what Mustafa's
um,
actually saying. Super.
text field with names.
Yeah. Or something. Yeah.
That sounds like fine.
Yep.
So we'll have a text field with names, and then we're going to have a controller, right? So we want a text editing controller.
Right.
People are saying yes. That's good.
Yeah. Mustafa has been saying yes to that.
So since we create the controller, we need to dispose it. I prefer to initialize my controllers in init state, and then instead have these as late finals.
Is there an advantage to that at all?
I just the way I see the code is I go, okay, everything in my init state I need to dispose of. So there's like a kind of marry up there.
Right. That's fair. That's fair.
But when if you put this up here, look, it's essentially exactly the same code, right?
Right.
Get rid of late. But then like I feel like there's a disassociation there between the two, just from my experience. It also means that there's an easy way of going, okay, if it's here, there should be there. The other side of this is you can, because this is late, now I can actually start this off with a value like from the widget or something else, right? Like an open value that's dynamic. If you put this in the actual
it would have to be a
initialization of the class, then it's the scope initialization of the class, then it's not going to give that ability.
Understood. So, okay, cool. Anyway,
digressions. Right. So then we'll
and actually this is important too, because actually the client requested that the name actually end up be highlighted as a color.
Yeah, that's fine.
When it's inserted. Okay. All right. Let's do that.
Yeah. Let's see. Right. So one step at a time, as they say.
Yep. And you can just work with a fixed list of 3 names or something just for demo.
Yeah, that's what I do. Sorry.
Don't worry about any of the fetching that stuff. That stuff I already know how to do. That's RiverPod.
Something like this. Simon,
Randall, Scott.
Scott.
Sure. That way there's 2 that start with the S just to make it confusing. Well, really, once you type the @ you're just going to get a pop-up menu.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, you can filter it later, right? That's not exactly.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Text field names.
Text field names was a friend of mine.
We'll have it return back a list of string. We pass the build context unless you want to go get something from the context to help you go get the names, right?
Sure.
Requester, sure, whatever. Okay, so make these required. All right, so so now we have our definition of how we want to use it. And now the question is, what do we want to put in here? So first of all, it's a text field, and we're going to pass our controller over. I'm not going to do any management of that controller. It's going to pass 1 to 1. We'll come back to what we want to do about that. So we want to know when they type an @ sign, right? So what we actually want to do is say on text editing on text value changed. I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, in init state, dispose. I'm going to want to did update widget. So we basically want to register this listener against the text. So in init state, we'll say widget.controller, add listener. If old widget
this is
does not
cool
equal widget.controller, or vice
versa. We saw
versa.
some of this last time too, I
Sorry?
Yeah. We saw some of the stuff like this last week, I think.
It's simple. I mean, sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was in the render objects. Yeah. So anyway, did update widget. Now, if they're different controller, then we need to unregister from the old widget, our old controller. So remove listener, and then we need to register our controller to the new one.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now we've done that, and we also need to unregister when we get disposed of from.
Oh no. Old widget controller doesn't get that.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah. Good call.
Yep.
Good catch.
Yep.
All right. So remove from the old one, add to the new one, and then dispose inside the new one when we need to. Okay. So now what we've got, we come down to this, which is this is going to be called whenever the text changes. So print value, and this is special, right? So we're going to do widget.controller.value, not text. This is the key. And then we're gonna run this. We're gonna get like a default sized input. Yeah, here we go. So we're clicking the box. Let's get a log open here. Hopefully with a bit more room. There we go. So if I type TEST, right. So as you can see here, we've got text T, text TE, text TES. So for each character change, we've got this. However, what we've also got is text editing selection being collapsed, which means it's just the line, not the selection.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've also got what compositing region we were in as well. So this is a very particular, if we do like something like testing like this, and should get a compositing region, like a correcting region. Anyway. So the key thing that we care about is the text section collapsed, and what is the offset of the cursor? We're going to need to know that. We need to know if they typed an @ sign, because they might be in the middle of, let's say, a paragraph or text or something. And we're going to make this multi-line, and we're also going to, I'm just going to enforce.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that for now. Let's just do that, just to make things simple. So back to where we were, we get the value. So let's go put that in a variable. We go if value dot selection is collapsed. No, because if they have something highlighted, then we don't really want to touch that. I don't think. Like you can do it. It's just going to get more difficult, because when you highlight and type, it's going to replace it. Are you then replace it with the @ sign? Then it becomes collapsed. It should be fine like this. This should be good for what we want. Oh, so text section collapse. So look, if I put in testing, right? Clear this, and then I highlight this word. It still shows me here's a text testing, but this is no longer a text section collapsed. It's now got a base offset of 8 and an offset extent of 15, 8 to 15. That's these characters, right? If it's collapsed, the cursor is still a selection, right? But the cursor has no contents to it. It's 0 in width. So now it just has an offset. Does that make sense to everyone? The difference between a collapsed and non-collapsed text selection? Okay. So now we know that. We want to go if value text substring at value selection offset base offset for 1 is equal to an @ sign, right? Now we know we pressed an @ sign, right, at the point where the cursor is, so we can print found at, right? Let's do that.
Wow, this is cool.
Right, so if I restart, we'll clear our log. Okay, so I can now. Yeah, it's because there's no text. So I've done this substring, but actually there's no length to it at the moment. So it's trying to detect an @ sign where there's no content. So there is actually, this should be value.text.length. I should put this in the is collapsed, and I guess we want to know if value selection base, actually we'll do this here, offset, and say if offset +1 is less than text length, right? We'll do something like this.
Value.text. Okay.
All right, and then we can then do text substring offset. Right. So again, just testing we're in bounds. So that's just right. So click in the box. No more error. Great. So now as I type, we get, this is just debug output, so ignore that. But then if I type an @sign, he says, did it get lost or did it not work? Dun, dun, dun. Oh, is this end? It's end, isn't it? Oh, I passed the thing. Sorry, I thought it was length. It's not, it's end. So let's try that again. So type at. Did I type it at? Hang on. Try again. At. I do not see it. What went wrong? Dun dun dun.
Okay, offset would be the start position in the string, right? Yeah.
Why is that at? Well, let's have a look. Maybe we've got this wrong. So let's print text. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
See what we're testing. Okay, that's interesting. The text selection is collapsed, but we're not getting any print output. So offset +1 is less than. Oh, because it's not. It's at the end. If I type a character, my offset is always at the end because I'm at the end of the string. If I type it in the middle,
oh yeah, it does. So you want to look at the
right.
character to the left of the cursor, right?
So what we care about is one character left of offset. To offset. There we go. So we want to say if text is greater than 0. So let's do this up here, and value.text is greater than 0. Length is greater than 0. It's not empty. Right. Yep. And then no, that's incorrect. We want to know it's the same thing here. We want to know if offset -1 is
huge
greater
numbers of fence posts going by. Huge numbers of fence posts going by.
Right. Okay.
Off by ones.
Off by ones. Right. Here we go. So let's try this again. So we can type. Oh. Offset. Oh, no, I thought I changed that. Okay. I must have undone it by mistake. Anyway, right. Try again. Right. Type at. Found that. It works.
Yay.
And if I go to the very beginning of the line and press at. Hang on. At. Go to here, type at. Found at. Go to the beginning of the line, type at. Not found. So I'm off by 1.
Still.
Greater than or equal to. All right, try that again. This is what at.
Great.
Yeah, you found that. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So now we can now detect if someone types an @ in our text. Okay, what to do next? Now we want to show at the text cursor position on the screen the pop-up menu and then keep it attached to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we do that? That's the next thing. So what we could do, we could look at injecting a text span. There's a couple of things like that. You can, there's a widget span in the text and have it flow with the text. There's a couple of crazy things you can do like that. Let me have a think about this briefly. So I don't want to go too low level, and I don't want to go to get the things that we probably want from this. We need to go down another level to edit text to the underlying thing inside text filter. I don't really want to do that right now. Take too long. However, let's just make the menu pop up right now and then have it insert the text, and then we'll talk about rich text and how you deal with that as a separate problem.
Sure.
Right. So okay. So when you deal with a text field, you do have a text layout. I think I don't really want to go too low level. Do I? Can we get? I feel like I can get the things I need from the state. I'm trying to remember now. I may have to go to editable text though. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Oh, no, yes. Do you know what we can do? We're going to cheat. How's that? We're allowed to cheat.
Sure.
We're allowed to cheat, right?
You cheat.
So when you highlight, if I type something and then highlight it, I'm going to get this pop-up for copy the toolbar.
Yeah.
Well, if we go and work out how they do that, perhaps we can do that feature. Okay. So this is it's toolbar options. Context menu builders deprecate 3.3. Oh, how about that? We have a new editable text context builder. Selectable region context menu builder. Selectable region. Huh. Okay. Does that mean we can just wrap this in like, what's the selectable region when it's at home? Selection handler, selection region, selectable, selection register. Is this something that's built in? That would be nice. Make a widget selectable. Some leaf widgets have all the selection logic wired up automatically. Make custom selectable widget in render object itself needs to mix in selectable and implement the required APIs into a selection API. So it's not selection, even though we have a selection. I don't think a collapse selection is the same thing. This is more about, I think, wrapping your UI in it's a bit different. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole here. So let's stick to where we were going with this. So context menu builder. So this passes it over to the underlying editable text. This is what I was trying to go to. Okay. Here we go. Create selection overlay. Text selection overlay. And what's this? This is a model object or something used low level. Lots of lovely state and things. Okay, we're not going to worry about that. But where is this being called from? Is this just handle selection changed? Is selection within text bounds? Hang on a minute. Is that just now a function? That'd be really helpful. It is a function with text editing controller. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on before we get distracted even further. Damn it. Right. Where was I? Okay. Handle selection changed. Sets the selection. Request keyword if it needs to. Selection controls. On selection changed. Selection caused. Show blinking cursor timer. So it sounds to me, actually, if you're going to do this, then it even should work even with collapse selections. Am I thinking that right? Does that mean we can actually use this event to just do it for us? That sounds cool. We should definitely check that out in a second. Let's not go off track too much. Because the stuff we've just done, right? Just for those people that are just following on, this whole stuff with like listening is essentially what that's going to do for us.
Oh,
right, because it will give us the selection and why it was changed. So this is where it shows the handles if it needs to, selection controls. If they're not null, then it will give them to you. Otherwise, it won't. So, by the sounds of it,
So the just typing a character changes the selection because now the cursor is after the new character, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm trying to understand if that's it. It should do because it's showing or hiding the text cursor.
Right. Yeah. You'd have
Well,
to.
I'm assuming so. Let's have a look. On
It would be
floating
a lot
cursor
simpler.
reset tick.
Yeah, it'd be simpler if you can just pass in a callback instead of having to set all that stuff up.
I think there's I think there's something to this. Text selection from position. Final position. Yeah, so this is what we want. Get location rect for correct. Render editable is what I want to get, which would be the render object for the text. All right, so let's go back to what I was thinking. I am going to have to use an editable text. I don't particularly want to, but we're going to use it. It doesn't change much. There are now some required parameters. Let's see if we can resolve these required parameters. Background cursor color. If we can resolve those from what this would be passing over. So background, cursor width, cursor color, widget.cursor color from selection style.cursor color, selection style. Okay. Default selection style. Okay, let's use that. That's the thing. We now know that's the thing. So this should be cursor color. There you go, cursor color. Done. What's next? Color's black. Let's just do that. Yeah, so it's got a default. What's the next thing we're missing? We're missing focus node. We'll sort that in a second. Style and background cursor color. Let's go back to where we were. Follow this back. Okay, so is there background cursor color? Okay, so that's Cupertino compatibility. Well, we'll put in the default, which seems. Do you know what? I'm just gonna put gray. There you go. Done. Okay. What was next? The next one was we've got focus node. We'll sort that one out. Style. Again, we're not going to get any of this default stuff. There's like autofill that all happens in the text field. So this is not overly desirable behavior that we're doing right now. But I don't think they key it, and there's no way of. Wait a second. That's public. Text field is not. Is there not a way of getting this? That'd be really helpful. Hello, what is this? Is this the selection? Text selection gesture builder.
Oh, I love noun stacking.
Text selection gesture detector. I'm feeling that's kind of what we want. Implements a sensible defaults for many user interaction with editable text. Various gesture handlers, on tap down, on force press, subclasses. But is this only subclass of this can behave formally based on gesture events overrunning corresponding handler methods within this class?
I think that's more for like things that aren't just typing characters, though. We only want to react on a particular character being typed. So it's really just about the changing of the value.
This is super annoying because they don't reveal this private member, but they put a getter publicly in this thing. Let me just see if this is actually retrievable elsewhere, because I'd rather like Cupertino text field, I think. Yeah.
If you start digging around the private, so it's probably going to break in the next release of Flutter.
Exactly. Don't be doing that.
Yes.
Now, let's just see if we can figure out if there's a way of getting this. Yeah, it looks to me like the only where a place is exposed is in this. it's set to protected, so we'd have to override it anyway. Basically, we need this render. So for those that aren't following along, I know this is a lot. This is really complicated. It's the render object itself that renders the text, and we need to know where that position is in the text. I feel like there's an easy way of doing this, but I can't think of an easier way. Which is kind of annoying because it shouldn't be this difficult. But this is going to text itself. I've said this before. Text rendering is inherently really complicated. And the whole principles of the way it works is really complicated. Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's just see. We'll continue with what we're doing. We're on the right track. So what we're looking for now is style and node. This is advanced and this I'm advanced. All right. So basically what we're trying to do is actually get to this. Just for those that aren't following along. I'm going to go a step back and we'll go a step forward. So in here, in our custom text field, right, we're going to add in a key. We'll call it the same thing, editable text key. And we then assign that to this object. Then what happens is when we get our @ symbol, right, then when we get our @ symbol, we get the editable text state. And we can then ask it for the position. I think it was in the state. Was it on the render object? I forget. I think it might have been on the render object. Let me have a quick look. Connection close. Copy selection did change. Hide. Perform. It's going to be the one time I've forgotten what it was just a minute ago. Selection overlay. We literally were just looking at it a minute ago and I've get rect. Get local rect for correct. It's this one here. Anyway, so there's actually a couple of different ones. Correct is fine. I mean that's good enough position for what we want. And this wants a text position. Yeah. So we'll create a text position object, which is again it's pretty obvious here. Offset. And it wants the upstream text affinity as well. Yeah, affinity, and that's our selection affinity. I'm not going to talk about affinity right now. That is just a whole different topic about right to left and left to right editing. Right, so this will be our rect, and we're going to print it off for the moment. Say rect. All right, so that's basically what we want to do. This gets us a position of the text editing correct where it is within the text editing field. Okay, so we need the focus node and text style. So let's go back to text, editable text, where it's implemented in the layout. Here it is. So we'll have a sort of focus on a second style. I'm going to trace this back. Get input style, use material 3, then use the material 3 style. Otherwise, it uses title medium merged with the style coming in. All right, we're just going to go with that because I'm being lame. So, all right, so style. There we go. And then theme.of. Okay, actually, no. All right, what else? He wants a focus node was the final thing. So focus node. So focus node is pretty straightforward. You can just build one of those and you dispose of it. Happy days. So we're going to do it in here. So again, same thing. Late final focus nodes. Equals. Text field with names instead. Whatever, I'll do. Right. And then we want to dispose of that correctly. Okay, so now we have everything. If I restart this, let's see what happens. Okay, it's there somewhere. There it is.
Where's the text?
So there's a text cursor there, and then I can type.
Yes, that's good.
The reason why, by the way, the reason why we didn't get the underline is because literally it's just an editable text reader. We actually need an input decorator. Decorator input. Input decorator. No, it is the input now. Input decorator with an input decoration. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this comes from the theme normally. So we say that theme dot input decoration theme. I don't think there's a whole default thing. Anyway, I'm just going to go with, we're just going to put a default one in there just because.
Yeah. Underline or something.
There we go. We're just going to get the default.
Oh.
And
Oh, the default is underlined. Nice.
Yeah, it's like the go-to default. I'm also going to add a padding on this just so that we can better see the bounds. And then I'm also going to add, we'll add an outline, shall we? We'll add the border to be an outlined input border. There we go. So now we can see hopefully everyone can see the box a bit better. Let's put border side. Is that any thicker? I think that's not. I think it's using enabled border, isn't it? I think.
Oh, that's thick. Yeah, that's
okay. So now we have an input field. Wow, we're getting there, right?
Right. Finally,
we can type in that input field and we hit an @ sign, and we get a rectangle. Yay!
Oh, yay!
So it's interesting that it's given us in local coordinates. So it's not exactly what I was looking for, but that's fine. This is saying give me the size of the rectangle, not its position in the local field. So left is 0. We know the left is not 0 for where that is, right? So what we actually want to do is, that's fine. I don't really care about the correct. We'll probably use this to get the correct height. Get endpoints for selection. No, we want to get position. It's the other way around. Get position for offset. Nope. Wait a minute. Returns the position of text in a given global coordinate. Oh, okay. Given pixel offset. It's going to bug the hammer in a minute. I know. Get word boundary. Get line boundary. I can't remember the name of it. 1 second. I know it's here somewhere. We're basically trying to get the character boundary for a text position. I know I could do it for selection. I don't know.
So close and yet so far away.
I mean, this would work. We can just put as text selection, give it the current text selection, which is fine. It just annoys me that I know that there's a function. I just don't remember.
Okay.
Here we are. A minute. Get full height for correct. Shut bounce height. I don't know if that will give us the proper position. Get offset for correct. That at which to paint the correct. That sounds like what we want. Let's use that. So this wants, oh, wait a minute. Have I gone too far? I was in a text painter. Okay, so crap. Is it exposed properly? Is the question. Get line number 4. Oh god. One of these, hopefully, is exposed. Just bear with me a second and I'll dig through. Second one up. Okay, now you're annoying me. That's the function we were calling. Shift it by cursor offset. The offset used in pixels when painting the cursor on the screen. Ah, so what we're saying is that there's just a getter I can call and it has what I need. Okay. Let's try that.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, let's do that. So this is saying we're going to get a... What's the problem here? Doesn't... Oh, it's a getter. Yeah, it's not a function. All right, it's not a rectangle, but let's just see what we get. Clear it. Type at 0, 0. You're lying to me again. Multiple lines. Let's go up to the end. At. It's not, definitely not 0, 0. That's just totally bugging the hell out of me now. Anyway, right, back to where we were, which I was on the right. I know it's the function that we were looking at, so get offset for correct is definitely the right one. So it must be.
Does the text focus node current context find render object mean anything to you?
No.
Okay, because that's what Bard told me to do just now.
Returns local coordinates of endpoints for a given selection. I'm going to try this because this should also do what we want. So let's just do this and see what we get. I don't know why I did hot restart by mistake, but whatever. At. It's still wrong.
Oh.
There must be another transformation taking place. Because honestly, that literally local coordinate system is based on the parent widget.
You know, I'd be happy if the pop-up menu.
Look. What am I honestly, I look at this, I'm going, I feel like I must be missing something. Last secondary tap down position, selection endpoints, line height at end. This is where it updates the selection overlay, literally to position that bar on the screen, right?
Right.
Start handle type, end handle type, it's line start, line end. This is standard stuff, right? You need to know where you're gonna text aside. Get rect for compositing range. I could get the actually that's a good point. I could just get the rendering object and do this. Get the smallest rectangle in local coordinate space that covers the text within the text range.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because it's an empty selection. Hang on. Come on. Oh, I forget. I don't have. I'm trying to select it with my mouse, and I can't. Hang on. Or with the keyboard, because that's all features of text field. I'm like, why is it not working? Oh, look, but I did get a different rectangle. Which actually might make sense.
This.
So if we modify, hang on, this is going to be, it'll work. It's annoying, but it'll work. So we do text selection. No, we don't need from. Yeah, we can just do this. So base offset is going to be offset -1. Extend offset, offset. So we're basically saying, give us the rectangle for the @ sign, for the @ symbol. Let's see if this works. Why? Okay, hang on a minute. I click at the end. I click down here. It's now showing the correct positions. Is it? You know what it is?
What?
We're getting the text editing value before it's applied to the field. So this is running before the @ sign is added into the text field. Therefore, when we try to ask for the position of that area of the screen, even the collapsed correct, which I thought should be working. Okay, all right. Okay, so I think I know exactly what the problems we've been having, why none of these functions have been working the way I expected them to.
Okay.
And it makes sense of why this wasn't working, why we're getting back 0. Okay. We're asking for the position of this text cursor, but it's one ahead of where it was before we started typing the text. So it's out of bounds. So what I think we need to do is this. We're going to record the value and then do a schedule microtask. So it'll apply this, it'll run this code after all the render objects have been updated for this frame. So let's try again. We type. We type, hit @ sign. And type, hit @ It's interesting when I hit backspace. I hit an @ sign again, same problem. Hit backspace, it's got a rectangle suddenly. But it's the same. It's just timing. This does still feel like the same problem. The problem is I need to understand when it's updated. Let's just see. Let's just check something out here. So I'm going to print before value. I don't think this is going to work because it's the state versus what it's rendering. So I'm going to do like a before and after to check it out. We could post on. Let's just do one other mechanism here. Widgets binding. Flutter, whatever it is. No. Oh, come on, Simon. Widgets binding.instance.add post frame callback. Let's try it in here again. Just want to see if we're going to get the expected behavior. We're definitely going down a rabbit hole that's taking way longer than expected. But anyway, let's see. Let's see. @ Yay! It is what I thought it was. It just schedule frame was not enough.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
So hang on. Now, if I do get local position for rectangle, text position, offset. I think you can get text position from the selection, can't you? I seem to remember. Why do I have a feeling you can build it from one from the other? Maybe it's in text position. Yeah. Interesting. I might think of the text range. Text range collapsed. Doesn't matter. Digressions. Right. Text position, offset, and affinity. We're going back to that affinity thing. Fingers. Ready? There we go. Value.selection.affinity. Right. Okay. Let's try this again. Right where we started. Type @ Yes, this is what I wanted. The position.
Yay!
And then if I hit enter, let's do this, and I go back up, and I go to here and type at. Yay! There's our X and Y positions, the wonderful X and Ys that we wanted to do.
Okay, there we go.
So yeah, right. Whatever you do, sorry, I just saw this comment. Whatever you do not just put random future.delayed anywhere in your app. Don't do this. That's not what I'm doing here. Remember that. This is waiting for the next frame of processing to occur. This is the correct way of doing that. Do not just put random delay 16 milliseconds, because if for whatever reason it takes longer than that, your code broke, right?
Right.
That's not the same thing at all. Just saying it out there. Right. All right. Back to here. Right.
Yes.
That wasn't don't get me wrong, Neil. That wasn't me digging into you. So, but yeah, just be careful how you use those things, right?
Just for testing, yeah, right.
All right. So let's move on. So now we know the position. We essentially need to rerun this code each time the text is changed when we're showing our pop-up and when we're not. And we get that position, we can then update an overlay, right? So we don't actually have it. Remember, this entire widget with the text is one widget. We can't use the follower layer. We can't use the target layer stuff, because that's based on widget boundaries. However, this is not that difficult. So, ready? As you're going to get some stuff done. I think we might be able to get away with doing this with text field, but we need some more investigation. I'm not going to be doing right now. So it's not going to be final. So overlay, nullable, overlay entry. It was that portal. Actually, no, what I'm saying, we can use that portal thing, can't we? Should we use that? What was it called? Overlay portal. Let's use that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this in that overlay portal. And it wants a controller, overlay portal controller. Let's give it a go. I never used it before. Always exciting. Oh, overlay portal, overlay controller. I'm going to move this actually where I want it, down here. I guess we're always going to need one. All right. Oops. Right. So we create our overlay portal control. Doesn't need any parameters. Debug label. How it's helpful, I guess. But let's get down here. So dispose. We want to dispose of it correctly, I guess. No, it doesn't have a dispose. Okay. So it's not a change. Okay. So it's just a thing. Okay, so we don't need to do it constructed like this. It's called a controller, but it doesn't have a dispose. Oh well. Right, let's go down here. So overlay child builder. Oh, did it have something else? No? Widget builder. Oh, it's because I'm not returning a widget yet. Okay. So what is the widget that we want to show? Let's show a positioned and it's going to be left. Yeah, left top. Let's just do a long box for now. And then that'll be a colored box. Let's do red or something. Oh. All right, and then the left and top are the things that we care about the most right now. So we want it so that when we detect an @ sign, we show that position, and then when we update it, we want to rebuild it. So we're going to need a way of holding that. So let's go and say final overlay position. equals value notifier of a offset, and that's going to start with offset 0. And when it comes to us choosing this rectangle, get the rectangle, we want to say top overlay position dot value equals rect dot top left, bottom left, sorry. And then we want to say overlay controller show, right? So it's going to update the position of where it is and show it on the screen. And then in here we can say overlay position dot value dot dx value dot dy. The reason why I use the notifier is now we can wrap this in a value listenable builder that listens to the position, position, and child, is it? So now we've got position, we'll use that instead. And this way, if we update the position after it's been shown on the screen, it will update its physical position on the screen because the position will be updated. So now we've done that. If we go back up to here, we can now, I'm hoping, say if overlay controller is showing, then we return else we want to hide, right? If it's showing right now, I go else if. So this is if it's not collapsed, right? So if we start selecting some text, that's it. You can't use our feature. So if overlay controller is currently showing, then we want to hide. If we still collapsed and we're now and we're already showing, we want to update the position and not so not deal with the @ sign. So we'll take this out here. Take this bit out here at least, and go and do void update overlay position. And offset and value is fine. We just need to have value brought in, and then offset itself is just the base offset. So okay, so that does exactly the same thing, and we'll just pull that into here. All right, let's restart, see what happens.
Explodes.
All right, so we can type, hit @. Okay, we have a red box, but it's stuck at the top of the screen. Let me move that down. So that's interesting. Now, the reason for this is that what we've got are the difference between local and global coordinates.
Yeah,
okay?
I was just about to say that.
So it's local. So the coordinates that we get back, where are we? I see a comma. The coordinates that we get back from our update, here it's here, are local coordinates. This is get local rect from the actual edit text. So that's fine. What we want to do is we then convert them. So we can then say offset equals local to global. Here's a render object, right?
Yeah, local to global. I saw it come up.
Oh, I'll just do it on here. It's all right. Get. So basically, this is going to convert the local coordinates of bottom left, sorry, to where they are globally on the screen. Now, what you're supposed to do is stop the ancestor at the overlay that you were actually trying to get to from this point. Otherwise, it'd be global to the screen. But if your overlay is slightly smaller because of various things like keyboard popping up and stuff, then we actually want to do overlay of context here. And that guarantees that we're actually Oh, widget. We want the widget. There you go. This one's the render box, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a render box. Okay, that's fine. Dot. Content stuff. We'll get there. There we go. So this just guarantees that when it goes up the tree, it will be relative to the actual overlay that we're trying to display the portal on. Should be, I assume. I may. There we go. Look.
Close. Real close. Oh, yeah, that's where the box wants to be.
Yeah.
Right.
It's being clipped by the outside bounds, right? So that I'm guessing is either because of the way Portal works. Target root overlay. I wonder if that's what we need to do. I don't know. Let's find out. I mean, I don't think anything that we're particularly doing. That's cool. So we don't tell it to not. That's actually pretty cool. I like that.
That is. That's pretty amazing.
All right. So
put more. Make the box bigger and see if it's actually getting clipped on that bottom line.
Oh, I thought it was getting clipped, but maybe I'm mistaken. You're right. Let's make it square.
Yeah,
okay, let's make it square, and then blah 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 blah. Oh no, it's not.
See it?
It doesn't look like it was getting clipped. Okay.
Yeah, I was starting to say, hey, that looks about like the right size all the time. So,
all right, let's do this.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Now you need a pop-up menu in there. That's it. Now you need the menu.
Now we need to say, okay, if there's not an @ symbol behind the cursor, dismiss.
Oh, yeah.
So not the fact that it's just collapsed. We need to know if this isn't the case, else hide. Is that sounds about right? The thing is, there's many reasons to hide this, right? And we're returning early because I'm trying to update it. So I guess as long as there's an @ symbol behind the cursor, we want to show the pop-up. If there's no longer an @ symbol behind the cursor, we don't, right?
Yeah.
So instead of escaping early, we're still going to have to do this check, but instead we don't need to show it unless it's already not been shown. And if there's no longer an @ symbol, we hide it. And if there's no longer valid text, we're going to hide it. This just seems really awkward. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a return early here. And then at the very bottom say, oh, are we showing? Then hide. Right? So this guarantees we don't have to do multiple else entries. It's going to fall through. If it's collapsed and it matches all these conditions, we update. And if we're not showing the cursor, we show it and return here. So we update the position if it's already showing and return. Otherwise, we hide. That sounds like the right logic to me. Let's see.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Type @ start typing. Goes away. If I go over here. Yeah, look
at that. It popped in.
As soon as I put the cursor there, it pops up.
Wow. Ship it. That's great. Commit.
Right. I think there might be a white space detection because do you want to, I mean, there's probably you start typing to maybe filter the list, right? But we won't do that right now. I think right now we want to have this thing build a list of the names. And then when you select one, we'll put it in the box. And that's it. We're done because we'll be here for too long otherwise. And then we'll post this and then you guys can have play around with these new things. Right. All right, so now we've done this. The pop-up we need to control. So now we've got we're going to get rid of our width and height. And we'll leave our red box just for debugging right now. And inside this, we want an intrinsic width. Yeah, intrinsic width, and then a unbounded height. But we'll look at that unbounded height in a minute. Now we want a list body. And we could do a piece of material, I guess, actually saying that. Oops. So if we were to, instead of do material, Ooh, got a shutter. Right, let's get rid of that. I think there was like a proper like list item. I'm trying to remember now. Do we want it to scroll? I guess we could just use a list view. No, I think it's going to impose too many things right now. We'll come back to that in a minute, because you're going to have a maximum constraint and things, and yeah. So title. So now we can do a for item in widget dot. Let's request those names when this pops up. Names and in names item. Yeah, we need that to be a widget. Let's do this first. Hey, look, Simon Randall Scott. That's great. And then elevation of 8, I think is the default for pop-up. There we go.
Oh, look at that.
I think there's a material type canvas. I'm trying to remember if you get like a different type canvas. Is it? I think it's a different. I forget. Oh, it's not material 3. It would be different material 3. Okay. Let's get a on tap. I think there's also a density thing we can wrap this with. So list tile theme, is it? Yeah. Dense. That's the one to override. Dense true. It made the font smaller.
Oh no!
It did not do what I expected to do, which was change the visual density of that thing. Compact. That's better. I guess we could. Does that? Let's have a look. Will this change the font size back? Yes. Okay, that's better. Right. And then when we tap on an item, we want to say.
Want to insert that now, right? Insert
text item. All right. Okay, and then we want to also. We'll just have that insert, and dismiss. Insert text and dismiss. Right. All right. So now we're going to go up here. Make a function, insert text and string text. Okay, so first things first, we can hide the pop-up so we don't have them tap twice. Let's do that. We have our text. We have the position of that text. Key thing is we want the current selection offset, right? Offset. So this is where the text cursor currently is. And then we want to, so let's call this offset. And then what we want to do is update the current text editing value of the controller. It's probably, to be honest, the amount of time we're using value widget.controller. I like doing that sometimes. Not in this condition, but let's see, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Right. So controller dot and maybe value actually saying that maybe it would have been better. Yeah. Yeah, I like that more. Right. So that kind of needs to come out. Now we have edited value selection. Nice. Drop it out of there. Editing value. All right, so where was I? Yeah, editing value selection. So we need to set the new text editing value on the controller equals a new, we want to adjust the current text editing value to incorporate the new text. So we take a new text editing value. I don't know if there's a copy with. No. Oh, there is a copy with. It doesn't really help us. However, what is this replaced? Is this a new feature? Hold up. Oh, is this going to do all the stuff for me? Oh, yes. Oh, look at this. Oh, it's beautiful. That is. So this is going to adjust the text selection in the composer region to do what we want, basically.
So you can just replace at with @Simon, for example?
Yeah, exactly. So we want the replacement range and then the replacement string. Right?
Cool.
And then the range is going to be collapsed at offset. Okay, so if I actually do this, this should do what I want. I don't know if it's going to move the cursor across, but we're going to see. All right, let's see what happens. Restart. Oh.
This is fun stuff.
Goodness me. Right. Blah 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 at Simon.
Oh, got it in one. Got it in one. Look at that. Ship it. Ship it. That'll. I think that'll keep my client happy today that I can ship this. This is great.
I'm gonna make. Do you want to do another small little change?
I got about 10 minutes now.
All right. So how about we make all at whatevers in blue?
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
You could actually go one step further and say, at the moment, we detect the @ symbol. But this could also, instead of just detecting one character like this, you can go, where is the current cursor? Is it on a word that starts with an @? Then highlight that word, and then you edit and change it. Right? That's another thing you can do.
Just keep it simple.
I'll put that as a thing for the audience, right? So this is more about fix me.
The client only wanted to be able to insert that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put this in rather than detect prefix @ let's detect a word starting with a @ or @ alone, right? And then that way, if you select the word, when you do the replace, it will actually replace it in line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we want to highlight them. So the way you do that is actually with a custom text editing controller. So since we pass that in, we're going to need something, a little subclass of that. So I'm just going to chuck that in here. Class text with names editing controller. I know it's really jank, but yeah, suck it. Right. Okay, so we want initial super.text. There you go. Right. So do that, can't we? No, super would be new text editing controller. I think they're doing something. Yeah. All right. We can call the super class with this. Yeah, let's do that. Can we? Yes, we can. Yeah. All right. I'll allow it. It's not a name constructor, is it? Okay, good. Sorry, that was me. Why did? Because it's not. I did super.text and it didn't work. Am I missing something? Hang on. Oh, it's because it was not in a named parameter field. Ignore me. Right. Okay. So now we've done this. We need to make sure that we're using one of these special controllers with our text field. So that's fine. We'll just create one of those instead. This acts exactly the same way as a text editor controller currently, right? No different. All is good. However, in here, there's a little thing, build text span. So this is the function that's called when it wants to build the visual display, the spans used for the widget on the screen. Why is this saying there's a problem here? I don't know. Oh, it's because it's a named field, and for some reason the autofill did not pass it across. Is that what the problem is? Same for style. That's interesting. Okay, so this would be the default. Now, what we can then do is take that. So a text span. Well, I'll just show you here, right? So if I comment this out, and instead we're going to return back a text span, a singular text span, and inside that text span, the text is going to be the text that we have on our widget, on our controller. This is a getter for the text. We do value. Let's be clear. Value.text. Just to be clear. And then the style we're going to put as text style font to colors dot blue, right? So what's going to happen now is it's going to crash because I type. Okay, so now when I type, everything is blue.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
That's all blue because we've overridden the text style. We've completely ignored the style that's been given to us. We've completely ignored the defaults, right? So what we need to do is essentially split the string based on a regex of @ and the @ followed by some text.
Yeah.
Then we recompose it back together. We use a map, just a simple map over a list into text spans. That becomes the text span children, and any one that starts with @ becomes blue, and any other one has the default. So it sounds more complicated than it actually is. Okay. So first of all, we're going to have our expression, right? A word to the wise when you're writing expressions, put an R before the string. This makes it a raw string. It means it won't try. If you do \n, it's \n. It doesn't try and put a new line in there, right? Or one of the other special characters. That means you don't double encode, have to double encode and other things. Anyway, right. So we want to split on an @ symbol followed by any number of word characters. There you go. Okay. Now we've got our expression. We want to take our value.text, split it on that pattern, exp. We can actually move that. We'll move that expression out in a second. And then we want to map over that list that's been split and say if, and this would be essentially a, I don't want to call it span, part. It's just a string part. It's part of the original string. And we can say if part 0 is an @ symbol. Oops. Right. Then we want to return back a text span using our style of blue with that text as the part. Right. So this is what we want to do. Else, we're just returning back a text span with that text. Right. Well, there's probably a nicer way of doing this, right? We could actually lift this out, take this here, and do a. I'll tie this up. Hang on. No, this is not obvious, right? Yeah. Cool. So, tidy that up a bit. Okay. So what we're saying here is saying split on a words. If a word boundary starts with an @ symbol, then write it as this. Otherwise, write it as a span or something else. Okay. This does mean that every word is now represented by span. No, it doesn't. It's every word starting with the @ sign. So this should be really optimal, actually, saying that for what we need.
Cool.
So this becomes the children of the parent text span. So we set children in here. It wants a list. So we'll just do square brackets. Right. And then the default style is the one that's been passed over to us. And we're going to ignore the with compositing and we'll get rid of that. So that should be everything that we need.
Okay.
So let's just tie this up a bit. And should we see what happens?
Sure.
Restart. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You get a range error. That is perfectly fine because the first split does not have a zero. We need to also say if part.length is greater than 0 and right is greater than or equal to 1. I guess not empty.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure. All right, let's try that again. All right. Type in the box. Okay, black. This is good.
Yeah, I like it.
At Simon. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
At
That's so good.
Simon.
Uh-oh.
Interesting.
They're not being displayed. Ooh.
It's obviously something to do with what we've got here, but I wonder if it's because we're not doing with the compositing region. All right, let's just see what the default does because I forget if the default is doing something special. I didn't think it was. Oops. Is compositing region valid? Is out of bounds? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, composing region out of range. Okay, so it does what it said. Returns a text with a style. Otherwise, it applies the compositing region with the compositing style. But again, just makes it under. This, again, makes no difference. Did we break something? Do you know what I've done? You know what I've done? The changes I made with controller. What do you reckon? The changes I made earlier with controller has probably made the difference. That would make sense. So here's the thing. Here's how we can test. Here's how we test if this is to do with the highlighter or our magical thing. I have a feeling it's probably to do with the fact that we moved the value out. This editing value piece, I think it's that. Trying to be too fancy. Right. Got a couple of options here. Let's go simple first of all. Let's replace our editable text with a text field.
Okay, now I'm just about to hit my last possible road bump here. So we need to wrap up quick.
Okay, let's quickly fix this then. Right, so we'll do that, and then we're gonna not listen, and we're just gonna see if. We're just gonna see if doing this will get our highlighting correct. At.
Uh-oh.
No, it does mess up. So that tells me it's to do with the fact of the text spans. We're going to have to follow that.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's too bad. All right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to comment this out and we're going to post it. And then if people want to have a go, they can definitely have a go. This is definitely the right way to doing it. But I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what's going wrong. So we're just going to return back.
Can I spend 4 minutes walking through the code that Bard wrote while we were talking, just so you can see?
Oh, you did not do that. You did not.
I did, in fact. I did do that.
No, that's not on. That's it. No, we're not friends anymore.
Let's see how wrong. Let's see how wrong I got up. This is the new Bard. This is the new Gemini Pro model now, though.
So it definitely. Hang on a second. Give me 1 second here, Randall.
Okay. All right. I will afford the time to do that, but after that, I really have to go.
Text split map into a text span as the child has a text. Oh, there's no problem with any of that code in there. I can only imagine that what's happening here is maybe one of maybe my regex is wrong. Let's do parts here. Just have a look and see if we're getting what we expect out of this thing. Move you over. See what's in the log.
What?
It's doing exactly what I expect. Okay. Hang on a minute. I'm trying to remember what the thing is for this now. It's split. I wanted to split on an @ symbol with words. I wanted to match that. The split is basically getting rid of what I'm splitting on. Of course it is.
You want the split to include the thing.
The new line is not in the output, right? So it's matching correctly, and then it's getting rid of @Simon @Randall in this case, right?
Yeah.
So if we can just briefly fix this, then I think it's going to solve it. And the reason why that explains the error that we see on the screen. Yeah.
Yep.
I think this is very fixable. Hang on.
Okay. And then I want to show you what it came up with.
Value.text all matches.
Actually, if I go over and put my shoes on, then I can be listening to you at the same time and save me 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
I'm listening. Oh, I gotta stand up.
I mean, Brad, if you need to go, head off, and I'll send you a link later.
No. Because I want to show the code I wrote. I want to show that.
All right. Well, do you want to do that? Because I can always fix this.
Yeah. And you might get the idea of how it got done by Bard, actually. So here, share screen.
Go on.
Share,
go on.
Present a window, right? Let's see. Present.
Add a unique char remove afterwards. No, that's not the answer.
Window.
Nice idea, but no.
Microsoft Edge tab. Here it is. Bard.
I know what you're talking about. There is actually what's called a replacement character. There's actually Unicode replacement character for that exact reason.
Can you see this?
It should be coming through. Yeah.
Okay. So I won't show the earlier stuff. I did a couple of iterations, but basically it does a lot of the same things you were doing here. So it creates an overlay entry.
Yeah. Okay. Rich text.
It's using a rich text. Text form fields holding that.
Wait, what? That's not going to work.
Wait,
what?
That's not good. I can do it.
Rich text doesn't have an option for child.
Children.
It's imagining things.
That's too bad then. Okay.
Child.
It looks pretty though. It's nicely indented. Here's where it was doing the text span stuff. That was cool. Let's see, how was it making the that was down. Yeah, it was down in
it's hang on, go. You're just scrolling too quick for this. It's lagging a bit.
Sorry.
Just go back up. So text form field on editing complete, overlay entry removal.
For that.
Okay, so it's saying, but this I can tell you what this is. This is like typing, and then as you press @ it puts it in, but it's only putting what you type with an @ in. I don't think this is the same thing.
Okay.
Because you got it on editing complete, decoration.
I did like this list view builder though to make the thing. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Also, I know I'm thinking about all these other things. So, for example, we just talked about. It says there about detecting the @ at the end of the string.
Yep. Yeah.
Right,
Here's where it's doing that. See last index of @ and the string there.
Yeah. If you just hang on a second, I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Well, that means I got to keep people happy for a second. I guess I can do that. Let me stop sharing here. If I can figure out how to stop sharing. Stop screen. Okay, there we go. And now I get to chat with you all for a second while I'm putting my shoes and socks on. So Bard just got updated this morning to be the new Gemini Pro model. and it's supposed to be even smarter at the current level than GPT-4 by some of the benchmarks that I was looking at in terms of quality of results and things. And that's also then going to be available to everybody through the what used to be the Palm API. So we're going to see a lot of competing products to the OpenAI type stuff based on what's happening now with Google. And Gemini was trained specifically or designed specifically to work well with Google's hardware that they're putting in the cloud. So it's extremely fast. And I was doing a few things with it this morning with Bard, and it's really like writing some really decent code now. So at least it's prettier.
Hey, thanks for hanging on.
I was just describing what Gemini was for everybody. Yeah. Big announcements. And apparently the Gemini demo was written in Flutter from what I saw one place. So yeah, cool stuff.
Nice.
Okay.
Right. I am going to share my screen again.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So where were we? Yeah. So we know that this is actually getting rid of it. I feel like there's a way of doing an expression which is non-capture. But I guess another way of doing this is with all matches. Let's just see. It's the other way around, isn't it? It's.
I would know how to do it in Perl. There's an extra parameter to split that says keep everything, just break it using this regex. But I don't know if that.
Do you know what? I didn't even check to see if split had that.
Okay, because I know that's the Perl way of doing that.
Split map join. That sounds like what we want, right? But the problem is it's trying to join as a string. That's annoying.
Almost.
I guess here's the thing. There's actually another way of doing this, which is really janky. I could use a split map join,
right?
And do what they did. So to put like the Unicode replacement character, and then re-split on the Unicode replacement character.
No.
No,
Fifth round of hell for you for that.
There's a special place in hell for people that do
right.
that. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's actually, it's really easy to actually write like a for loop to do this kind of thing. You don't have to use these magical regexes, right? For example, this one right now is definitely one that could be just done without, like, you can just do a for loop, right? I think there's actually, is it the character? I'm trying to remember what there's one for white space, isn't it? Is it the characters package? Because it is this character white space. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll use the regex still and all matches. So that should get to where we want. Yeah, so let's just do map e dot start. Groups. Ooh. Oh. Give us a little bit more room. Right. Parts. I've got 12 and 25. So this is the start of each one of the points that have the @ symbol.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like there's an easy way of doing this, and for the life of me, first match, all matches, has match, string match.
Bard's even getting this problem wrong. I can already tell that it's not doing the right thing. Weird.
It's interesting. For some reason, well, all right. Well, look, there's ways of doing this, right? So we're going to say we basically want to create a list of parts, right? So we'll say parts equals string list. Okay. and then we're going to set our start offset at 0. We're going to get our matches, and we're going to final match in this. We're going to go over the matches, and if there's no matches, then our start stays at 0. That's all great. If the start is greater than 0, in other words, we already have a, I guess, last end, I think, end at 0. If we get to a match, then we want to take everything from start to the current match. Sorry, no, this is correct. So start is 0, then it's the match start, right? So now we have a substring that we can add to parts, right? So we're going to have, we probably want to take our text, bring it local just for good measure. Okay, so text.substring.
Matches on either non-@ signs or @ sign and word characters.
Yes. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So the
list of those will be all your individual chunks that you want. Yes, just do an OR bar, vertical bar.
Do you reckon? I mean, we can try it. Let's see.
Yeah. You're missing spaces now, though. Your matches. I was just saying, use @ sign, word characters, or any non-@ signs as a chunk.
Yeah, any non-@ sign.
But get rid of the backslash W though. You don't need that.
Yeah, but it needs to be.
No, you don't care. You don't care about any other characters besides @ and some word characters. You just want to get all the
Yeah. No, I get that. Hang on.
Yeah. And it should be W star, not W plus, because your very first @ that you type won't have a word after it.
Yeah. All right. Okay, that works. Look, blah 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 @ Simon, blah blah blah.
Okay.
Is it?
Yeah. So that's splitting correctly now. And now it should detect the @ at the end of the string. It's a standalone piece.
Oh, what? Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so if I now take that and we go back to what we were doing.
Mm-hmm. Now the parts are actually the parts we want.
And we'll iterate over those. And this becomes a match. Regex match, is it? I'm trying to remember this unique. Yeah. Whoops. Hold button. Right. Okay, so this is our text, and then all right, let's see what happens. What can possibly go wrong, hey? Hey, look.
Whoa!
Blah 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 @
Dude.
Let's go.
Oh man.
Blah 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 blah.
Oh, ship it. Commit. Put it up stage. Make it go. Make it go. We like things that make us go.
What? Okay, yeah. That's an interesting regex someone's put in the chat there.
Yeah, I see that.
You did it wrong also. Okay.
Okay.
I've never seen a less than equal to.
That's a look ahead.
Is it?
Yeah. You're talking to a Perl guy. We know this stuff. This is my home turf.
Yeah, well, I know that. Yeah. Would that actually make any difference to this?
No, you got the right stuff already. You don't need to look at that other stuff. It's fine.
Oh, we don't need. Actually, I just read it. I need the.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
All right. So let's type in the box at Simon. Blah 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 blah. At.
Yep.
Randall.
Look at that. Oh, that's so pretty. That, and it even has the ad is in blue as you first type it too, which is really cool. But if you just type at and another character, does the at stay blue and then the next?
Yeah. I mean, you can just do at and start typing, right?
Oh, so it keeps that whole word then, though. Maybe I don't want that. I'll figure that out though.
I mean, so again, like, so one of the things that we're what we don't have here is the way that you work this.
Which was actually inserted by my pop-up.
You can. That's why we have a custom controller. So what you would do in here is you would have inserted fields or whatever, right?
Right.
As you with me as an array. Yeah, and then when it comes to this is we're using regex, right? Like, you can do this completely without regex, and you probably should, right? But the point here is that you use you add to this private field, and when you build the text span, the display, you then process that and build your spans from that. That's exactly how you might do a syntax highlighter, for example, right? You would have your AST, you break it down into what the spans are for the various things. You then do, when you build text span, you're building your output display based on your stated your app state, essentially, right?
Okay, I gotta go. That was awesome. I'll see you guys hopefully in about a month or so. I'll be online, but I just won't I'll be too much under drugs at least next week to be on the show for sure, and probably even the following week still. So it'll probably be about a month before I see you guys again, but I'll come back as quick as I can and see you guys all. So definitely. And thanks for all the great wishes, and I'm sure it'll all be great.
Yeah, I hope you get well soon, and we'll speak to you soon. I'll send you a link for this. All right.
All righty. Great. I'm out of here.
What we're going to do. What time is it? Now, I think we're going to end it here. Way too long stream. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that. What I'm going to do. Bear with me a moment. I'm going to grab that code and we're going to stick that in a gist, and then everyone can have that. Bear with. Can't leave it without code. What should we call it? Any ideas, anyone? Yeah, we tried that, Elias. It doesn't work because it removes the items that you're splitting on. Oh, you're splitting on white space. You don't want to do that because then you've got a span per word and not a span per section. So if we rewrote the entire text without an @ symbol, the entire text would be one span, not every word. I like your thoughts though, but yeah, no, that's definitely not what you want. Too many spans will definitely bottleneck the rendering, and you just don't want it. It's just no. Sorry. What should we call this? Come on, give me a name. Tagging, name tagging. Let's put name tagging dot. There you go. Name tagging. Double G, sure. And then our little bit of a README, I guess, will be name tagging during input example. Date is the 6th December. Christmas is near. And we'll put a link to the YouTube so people can see how we did it. All right. Public gist on its way. In the chat it goes. There you go for anyone who wants it. I'd be interested, George, to know. I seem to remember that Android had something similar. It was a while ago. Be good to see if we can match the behavior or something, right? As a widget. I'm also, we did this ourselves. That was the fun of this. But I'm sure there's tons of packages on pub.dev that already do this. You don't have to do it yourself. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for dropping by, and I'll see you sometime next week. Without minus Randall, but we'll have some other people here, and we'll see who else we can get on. See you then. Bye.